friends are now my enemies. Always tell you what to do. Can't keep up with all the bullshit they're throwing your way. Always looking for the easy way. Now they're walking over you. Yeah. Never felt so damn frustrated. You're just wasting my time. All the feelings that I dread. Can't believe the words you said. Somebody save me. Now we're hanging by a thread and it's ringing in my head. All the feelings that I dread. Can't believe the words you said. Somebody save me. Now we're hanging by a thread. It keeps on ringing in my head. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. You're on step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? We ready. Been ready. I waited. My turn. On God. Hell steady. I keep dropping back to back. I keep going if you let me. I've been sitting at the top, looking down at those who left me. Promise I'm not being petty. I'm the one they envy. Brody moving state to state. Make $1 million out to send me. Plus I grinded from the start. I was stacking pennies. I might dip like Machiavelli. After the confetti. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who?
skies to the grave. quadra kill, but so was the Spirit of the Nine wins.
It's still alive. Who is the first to fall? It is Carnifex's first blood.
The X connects onto the Hades. Down he goes.
On, able to take down 2, able to take down 3.
Adding him up, keeping him there, and it's a pentakill.
Welcome back, everybody, to OSL Olympus Smite League. We're here to watch the Athens Division finest, the Wailing Banshees up against Eternal Vanguard, coming at you right here, right now. If you don't already know me, my name's Morty. We've got Tesdai behind the scenes, making all these pretty colors you see on screen happen. And next to me here in the book is none other than the most passionate piece of papier I've ever come across. It's Spirited Book. What is up, Book?
Did you say the most, like, here in the book, not booth? Is that what I heard more? Because I get it, Spirited Book, but like, we're in a library now. Is that what's going on? Yeah, okay. We'll keep
we got a lot to talk about here, Book. A lot to cover. No need to focus on these little tiny details. This is our last week of regular season.
Yeah, this is our final week here for the regular season. You know, after this, it starts to become playoffs. So there's a lot of implications for the matchups that will be taking place today, and we'll be focusing on one matchup in particular. It's an interesting one because on paper it looks a little weird. It's the second seed from one of our divisions in the Nemean Hydra's division, or sorry, the Nemean Lions division in the Wailing Banshees. They are the second seed at 11 points versus the fifth seed on the other side in the Nemean Hydras. On paper, sounds like kind of a messy matchup, but the fifth seed on the other side is, you know, near tied by points with Wailing Banshees. They're only down by 1. All the points in the Nemean Hydra's division are so close. The top seed there has 15 points. Then it's like 13, 11, 10, 10. So there's a lot of implications for the Eternal Vanguards. They 2-0 the Banshees. They have a huge opportunity to move up in the standings pretty significantly.
Well, before we get there, we got to get through the matchup going on right now, which we'll do in the Picks and Bans phase, starting things off here. Wailing Banshees, and there's a couple players that can really make this phase more exciting. We talked about this before, moving on over to the live screen, and how Des can just pick whatever god Des wants to, right? Des has a very deep god pool, will just kind of throw whatever he wants at the wall and hope that it sticks, and I'm excited to see that go down, especially after yesterday. It's my prime. We got to say Chang'e best throw Yamoja mid with Aspect into the bunch, and then let that team make it to the finals of Smite Prime. So if we're playing Yamoja mid with Aspect, I mean, I'm expecting to see anything at this point. I know Des likes the Anubis pick every now and then, the Akate we've seen every now and then as well, but I'm ready for anything at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what Des decides to pick out today, especially against Bacon. I feel like both these two mid laners are kind of very ego driven at times, will kind of pick whatever and make it work, and are very strong mechanical players. So excited to see what these two in particular have to offer both their respective teams. And already we're seeing some of the bans come through. Excited to see the Naja taken away. We've kind of seen it a fair bit, and I think you and I both, Mort, just don't understand the thought process behind this pick. Just get it out of here. I'm so happy to see it gone already.
And a couple of these players are riding high off of, again, Smite Prime from yesterday. Koja Fox and Port Degree teamed up yesterday and made it to the finals for Prime, which is hardly ever done, especially when Clocked In and, you know, Hold That are both playing, you know, against each other in the finals pretty much all the time. You know, one team finding the ability to usurp. You got to imagine, I mean, mentals are skyrocketing right now for both teams. I mean, Port Degree was the solo for that team, and then Koja Fox was a support. So you've got one team, one player on each side that is riding off of that momentum. And then you got players like Snicks, who's used to that pressure consistently, and Aurora, who's a very high level support. So both teams have some good parts here and there. New Wa going to be our first pick for the Picks and Bans. I know there's a little bit of ball knowledge here, Spirited Book, with the new Aspect reworked. I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah, so she got a bit of a change recently. I'm just pulling up that now so I can, because I actually haven't fully understood the full aspect of what the change was. It was pretty significant change because ever since, you know, that aspect change has gone through, she's been pretty prevalent. And for whatever reason, Wailing Banshees feel very confident to pick her up first overall. And this is a flex potential. I feel like this could go ADC. This could go into the mid lane for Dest. I personally would love to see it go over to the ADC role. I think Nuwa, for as unsafe as she can be at times, has to spend a lot of time farming. And in mid, I feel like you don't have the opportunity to spend that time farming. You have to be at a capability to fight kind of any time of the game.
We're probably going to see this Newt pick go over to Bacon in the mid lane, potentially Hydrogen, but my guess is on Bacon. And Sobek getting picked up early. And this is an interesting one because yesterday on Prime, we saw Port Degree play Sobek solo, not once, but twice. So maybe we're looking to keep that away from him and probably goes to Koja Fox. Seems like a Koja Fox pick is Uller and Ardio join the battle as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago now, we watched this Wailing Banshees team play, and Snicks decided to play the Uller in game one and just did not have the best performance on it. Missed tons of the important skill shots. So really curious to see if that's going over to Snicks or if that's going to be in the hands of Axiom, who is subbing it for the ADC role on the side of Wailing Banshees. Drunk Diplomat out, Axiom in. Excited to see how that shifts the dynamic over in the duo lane.
Achilles and Hu Yi joining the battle for Eternal Vanguard. And when you say the word skill shots, there's a pretty good amount of skill shots, especially with this Hu Yi pick for Vanguard. I mean, skill shots is really what it is. If you're looking for big burst damage, you got to hit the ricochets, you got to hit the bounces, and whether or not, whether it be Shadow or Hydrogen that picks up this Hu Yi pick, can utilize these bounces. I mean, that's going to make or break this matchup for Hu Yi.
Yeah, for sure. I think Hu Yi is going to be very interesting. Ooh, Charon. This will be fun. I haven't gotten to see a full Charon game yet, so excited to see Aurora picking that one up, unless for whatever reason it could be Charon solo, but I feel like this character really sets in the support role more so, and Ardio has really found a home in the solo lane more in particular. So excited to see how this Charon kind of fits into this composition, and a composition that really does just want to run at you. I mean, Sasano dive in the back line. Ardio wants to dive the back line. Uller can shoot arrows from a distance and then really facilitate that backline dive as well. And Nuwa just hits the 4 key and in doing so helps dive the backline. So I love this identity for the Wailing Banshees.
Yeah, and definitely so. I like the identity for Eternal Vanguard too. You have a lot of gods that can play off of Aegis, right? Or you're going to force Wailing Banshees to pick up Aegis, and then you've got multiple gods that can force it away. If you want to counter the Tsukiyomi ult, you've got to use Aegis. Piercing Moonlight cannot be beads away. It has to be Aegis, right? Same thing with Achilles' Fatal Strike. Sure, you can dodge, you can juke, you can heal, but if you don't have any of those options, if you're right in front of Lord Garfield and have nowhere to go, no blink online, no dash to use, you have to use the Aegis. So timing those relics on the side of Wailing Banshees is going to be very important if they want to take on Eternal Vanguard easily.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Aegises will be really important, honestly, for both sides. I think there's a lot that could be immuned away, and in all honesty, there is some pretty prevalent CC, and I feel like Wailing Banshees get the better end of it with that Charon ultimate. I mean, yeah, you could avoid the Newt ultimate with beads. The pluck and the stun from Achilles are ideal beads targets, and maybe even the ricochet from the Hu Yi, sure. But overall, this is a big AoE team fighting tool in the Charon ultimate that can look to force beads on the side of Vanguards.
Who will take game one? Let's find out as we make our way into the game right here, right now. Game one of the set, a best of 3. Wailing Banshees up against Eternal Vanguard, Athens Division's finest, happening right now. For those of you just now joining us, it is Morty and Spirited Book in the booth. Tesdai behind the scene, making all these pretty colors you see on screen happen. And now that we've got our aces in our places, what do you think, Book?
So it is going to be Nuwa in the mid lane for Dest, which is interesting. I feel like if Snicks is the one that can get his team off to a good start, particularly Dest as well, off to a good start, who is rocking that aspect, which we can talk about in a moment, I feel like that is an opportunity for Dest to snowball in the mid lane. But yeah, so this is an interesting change. So allowing the Mist obviously does the same thing. The Shining Metal and Fire Shard scale with attack power and procs attack item effects. Attacks reduce the cooldown of Shining Metal. Additionally, Strength of Fire also provides attack speed. So basically, Nuwa is just an ability spammer now, and then her auto attacks will allow her to shoot that ability more consistently. And I like that. I feel like her 3 is a big part of her kit tool and how she gets her damage off. But when she goes for a full, kind of CDR build, it doesn't work the best because you kind of want to go full power with the int and then you don't have any CDR to flavor in, but it feels bad when you pop out the clay soldiers and then the shining metal, and then that's it. That's kind of all you can do in that moment in that fight because you have no CDR. You've gone for a full power build, and if you don't one-shot them, you're kind of sitting duck. So I like this identity shift for the character and excited to see how it fits into this mid lane.
And I think wave clear is going to be very much in favor for Dest as well. Sure, Bacon's got a pretty decent amount with the 2. Oh, a plug goes down over here in duo. Axiom in trouble, and Hydrogen jumps right on top of him. First blood goes the way of Eternal Vanguard. A great kill for Hydro. Aurora extremely low as well from the bounce. Good lord, a very aggressive start here in duo lane.
I mean, the Axiom and Aurora just disrespecting the level 2 advantage for Eternal Vanguards. They get it first, and they look to take full advantage. Snicks and Dest have to be careful. They do secure the Oracles at the very least, though.
And thanks to that Boombas, right? Thanks to the Boombas.
Yeah. It's interesting. We kind of see a bit of Boombas here and there. We've been seeing it a lot less in the ADC role, which is where we've kind of seen it the most. Even junglers, like we see Shadow here, going for that hammer. As Dest is dead in the mid lane to Shadow.
Ouch. That stinks. You know, you played for the Oracles and might have gave up your guard a little bit too quickly. Shadow still sticking around, throws the Caltrops down. Snicks in trouble, teleports over the Caltrops thanks to the 3, and Snicks is A-okay for now. But the other side of the map's neutral farm is going to go the way of Eternal Vanguard. And that's a decent transition, right? You're trying to get a little bit of get back and maybe get some farm under your belts. Who can get the ults first? That's really what's going to make a big difference when it comes to fighting over Firebrands or maybe even the Gold Fury here in a few minutes.
Yeah, but I feel like the Wailing Banshees, their Firebrands fight is a lot worse, especially now that Dest takes an early spill. You can already see Bacon has a bit of a power spike here with those components here towards their item, their first item. So the power spike does favor the Eternal Vanguards a little bit, and already Bacon should have some extra, a little bit more clear prio than this Nuwa, despite having the aspect. I feel like the Newt should just have prio here. So Firebrands will be the target here of Eternal Vanguards. I think it's on the Wailing Banshees to see where else they could prioritize, but Snicks is here first. Shadow is late to the objective.
A good pluck from Coach Fox to take Aurora back, but a bounce hits the stun. It takes Aurora down to half health, and a gank over here in solo lane. 2 members of each team over here around the Firebrands, but nobody's taken them just yet. As Snicks and 4 Degree walk over and begin the burn on top of them. Eternal Vanguard have 3 members showing up, but looks like it kind of goes either way. It's kind of hard to tell who got the XP, but the rocks go for Eternal Vanguard. 4 Degree on the run. Doesn't have an ultimate because, well, Ardio doesn't have an ult, but still on the run. The Bear Dash will get them away to safety, and Hydrogen extremely low from a skirmish here in duo.
Oh, you can see Koja Fox getting very low, but he has a Sobek. He should be okay, but they're looking to commit to everything, and Aurora finds that one for the Banshees.
A big Sunder play. That's something we haven't even got a chance to talk about yet. Sunder picked up from Aurora, so we're going for an aggressive start with this Charon pick, which it seems like kind of a shocker. I mean, and I don't know about you, but I feel like Charon had a bit of a weak show up in Smite 2. Doesn't deal as much damage as what we did see in Smite 1, right? I mean, the utility's there, but the damage not so much. But Sunder, I feel like we're playing into that damage playstyle.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we talk about it not being the same level of damage as Smite 1, but we saw Charon mid for a while in Smite 1. So, I mean, must have been a little bit of inflated numbers at times, but no, I agree. I mean, Charon, we haven't seen him at all. Not really in Smite Prime here. I haven't seen him in the first couple of weeks of OSL. So just not really there as Bacon is in trouble here. The dash gets caught by the minions.
Wow, that is good damage dealt from Des, but Bacon still alive in the mid lane. Snake's hanging out as well, but Coach Fox rotates over. Charge Prey could be going for a pluck, but instead, Snakes is going to
finds it.
back. We'll go for Des as well. Niegas is forced out from Des. Try to go into the air with the ultimate, but Des couldn't go up in time. A kill goes for Eternal Vanguard, their 3rd of the game so far.
And that's a nice little play as Lord Garfield has to play defensively here on the right-hand side, but Koja Fox doesn't pick up the Blink Relic because of the lane, right? He's looking to rotate out, make plays exactly like that, and using that Relic efficiently early on as Snicks trying to contest any neutral farm he can. Firebrand spawning, but he's not going to have prio in right or mid to look to contest this objective. So the second round of Firebrands will go the way of the Vanguards.
That's big. That's big. We want to get Tsukiyomi online sooner than later, especially if they're going to go for this double stacking build. You've got to give them as much power as possible. That way, if there is a fight by the mid lane pad, by the Queen Naga, something like that, at least you've got some damage to work with thanks to the rocks instead of just relying on stacking the Transcendence or Book of Thoth as quickly as possible. Assuming that Shadow's even going the double stacking build, that seems like it's been the standard for Tsukiyomi so far, but we could see something different.
Yeah, I feel like the full power, strength build is pretty solid still, but I agree the double stacking build has been kind of the talk of the town as of late as we're hovering this left-hand side. And I like this idea that the Banshees have kind of done, keep Aurora on this left-hand side, keep good duo pressure. Hydrogen, we haven't even mentioned his name a whole lot, but he is kind of the star player for this Vanguard's team. Obviously the ADC for that clocked-in roster. One of the better ADCs we see around the block right now is Gold Fury is being pulled by the Banshees.
But who can steal it away? It's down to 60 health, and Snyx is going to secure it for Wailing Banshees. They get the first gold, but Piercing Moonlight goes straight forward, and Snyx tries to go into the boat, but the boat is crashing over 2 kills for Shadow. So Banshees lost 2 members, but they got the Gold Fury. Is that worth?
I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a misplay there by the Banshees, ADC. Axiom just hovering on the left-hand side. Went for farm instead as Des gets plucked into danger here. Can't even get the ultimate off in time, and he falls as well. And the red buff's going to get invaded. Definitely not worth Mort.
Yeah, I think losing a 3rd member there, just not aware, right? I mean, you've got to have vision. You've got to know where the enemy is at before you just get caught out like that. And I guess you're relying on Nuwa Ultimate, right, to take you into the air, to be your panic button of sorts, right? That's what we see Nuwa Ult as sometimes, panic button, but it doesn't give you enough response time. If you get plucked by the Sobek, I mean, by the time you land, you've already taken, I would imagine, some damage from a couple basic attacks or an ability, something like that. You've lost a good amount of health, and by the time that you make your way into the air, your health bar is gone. That's it. I mean, nothing left.
Or Garfield has teleported on mid lane first. They're looking to contest this, Moonlight Ritual as Port Degree happy to hover to the right-hand side for the 3rd round of the Firebrands, and those are significant. And as Axiom gets soloed by Hydrogen on the left-hand side.
Oh, close, but a fight unfolding here in mid as well. Summon Sticks thrown out. It does find a couple fears, but Snyx J taken down by Bacon. That's 2 dead bodies, 1 in duo, 1 in the mid lane. And Koja barely lives with a sliver of health. And the favor will go for Eternal Vanguard. They'll get the Moonlight Ritual. It's in pocket for Lord Garfield, and Firebrands did just get taken down. Another big objective going the way of Eternal Vanguard. Macro game seems to be their strong suit right now. They have a lot more kills, but not a huge gold lead. Interesting pickup.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an interesting shift here. I mean, and I agree, their macro has been on point, but it's off of silly little mistakes here and there. I mean, Des consistently being caught out at mid, not getting the ultimate off in time, having this Aegis, which we've talked about how important this relic is for the side of the Wailing Banshees. But yeah, I mean, beats, when you don't have that relic, you get punished by characters like the Sobek, like the Tsukiyomi who can stun you out, like this Newt who can root you in place and then all in commit to you with the damage. So this Nuwa has really struggled in this mid lane, and it's led to Eternal Vanguard's kind of getting a little out of control across the map in general. That mid pressure has led to multiple Firebrand takes, as well as, yeah, Banshees get the Gold Fury, but that's kind of it.
Hydra's got a decent lead, and it's definitely making use of it. Look at the bounces there. Did you see that, Book? The damage coming in for a Hydro, even with the Devos pickup and Dagger of Frenzy, which, I mean, you're more focused on basic attacks, but your abilities, the one is still hurting so much.
Yeah, that Ricochet scaling off of every bounce, and another one connecting from Hydra. He's going to go for the all-in.
Going for the all-in, but doesn't throw the ult down just yet. Axiom having to deal with the wave, so instead backs things up. The bounce barely off the mark. Axiom just, you felt the wind breeze right by you, but a bit of trouble here in solo lane. Piercing Moonlight goes straight for Port Degree. Doesn't do enough damage to find the kill, and around the corners or more. Walking forward to at least try and push Eternal Vanguard away, but maybe we look for something. Snyx hops onto the boat, but then gets right back out and gets taken down. And gonna hide out behind the tower. 3 members of Eternal Vanguard, again, looking for these Firebrands. They've been at every single round of brands this game, and they've gotten each one as well.
See here, Nuwa being the first pick against a high pressure pick in the Newt. It's really struggling here to contest even their own buffs as Roar gets plucked into danger.
I love that from Aurora. I love that. I mean, it would have ended in either Death's life or Aurora's life, and Aurora is going to take the sacrifice there. So well played. The 3 was used to dash right in front of Koja Fox, so you can't pluck Death. You have to pluck Aurora if you're going to use Charge Prey there. Okay, we'll settle for 1 kill better than none. So well played by both teams, really. Eternal Vanguard walk away with somebody's life, but Death is fine.
I mean, they're kind of walking away with everything right now. You can see the Achilles has rotated to this Gold Fury, and now they're looking to pull this one. Snyx and Axiom are on the way, and they have good steal potential.
Half health on the Gold Fury, and it's burning down quick. Eternal Vanguard could get this easy, but Susanna ult's thrown down, but Eternal Vanguard drop it. What a massive play as Bacon secures the Gold Fury. Can there be any kills found right after? Looks like 6J is going straight in and goes right for Koja Fox's head. Down goes Koja. Eternal Vanguard, the rest of them split and make like cockroaches fly away from the light. That's a great play from Vanguard. Grab the objective and go. They might have lost Koja, but I'd say sacrifice the support and take the objective. I think that's worth.
Oh, so worth here. And actually, check this out for Dest. Has decided to delay a lot of that damage and has already upgraded that Aegis into a time lock Aegis. Now it's a consumable item here, or not consumable item, but just item in general, an active item. And now Relic pickup here for the beads for Dest. So now they have access to some, you know, CC immunity outside of that ultimate to respond to the plucks and the stuns on the side of Eternal Vanguard. So already aware that they're incredibly unsafe as Aurora gets plucked into danger. Half health already.
Half health did get chunked down pretty quick. The burn was started on the Pyromancer by Des, but once Aurora got caught, Des said, okay, maybe not my best idea. Piercing Moonlight goes straight for Snyx, but a dash after will get them to safety, maybe so. Caltrops thrown down to slow Snyx J, but Shadow throws a couple abilities, and all net, no backboard. A great shot from Shadow secures the kill. Down goes Koja, or down goes Snyx. I mean, Aurora dead as well. 2 down for Wailing Banshees. Port Degree all alone. Lord Garfield on the chase going for Port Degree, but that cripple field will keep combat dodge from going through. Oh, almost an XE range. You got to play this right. Lord Garfield could walk away with a kill, but just trying to hide behind the minions. Let them walk in. This could end with Port Degree's lifeless body on the floor, but the minion wave shows up just in the nick of time to save Port Degree, but Axiom's in trouble as well. Hydro throws down the meteor shower, throws 1 basic, and takes Axiom's head. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Hydra is just running this left-hand side, and yeah, you mentioned it, Port Degree really struggling now. This is kind of how the matchup goes. Once Achilles kind of gets online, he can start to lane bully here, and he's looking for that execute, but just uses it to play safe. Not going to dive the tower as Snyx is on the way to this right-hand side.
And you know what? I honestly thought that was going to be a force for Aegis. I thought that was going to be the play. Just force Aegis away from Port Degree, so maybe you can go get the kill later on. Lord Garfield in trouble because Snyx just showed up, and the ultimate's thrown down. Snyx goes straight for Garfield's head. Down goes Garfield. A great gank from Snyx.
A nice gank there, and that's something for the way of the Banshees. It feels like they've been lifeless for a hot second. Nothing going their way. Finally something going their way at the very least, and that's a good kill over to Snyx in particular. I mean, he's got 2 items. He's got the Hydras, the Oathsworn online here for the Susano, so he's going to be at a good spot. Yeah, he's 2 levels behind, but he's definitely not out of this game just yet, though Axiom has to be careful. Shadow spotted him.
Okay, walking straight for Axiom. Gonna go around the bush and go straight, cut off. Caltrops not thrown down just yet. Instead, we're going for Piercing Moonlight, diving straight under the tower. Great damage dealt. Caltrops thrown down to maybe find the last bit of damage needed, but Koja's around the corner. I'll take that. Secured by Sickening Strike. A great play from Koja to make sure Axiom's dead. Aurora showed up a little bit late.
You could tell Shadow's just so comfortable on this Tsukiyomi pick, just not afraid to go for the all-in, and aware his support's on the way as Lord Garfield getting dove again on this right-hand side here.
And doesn't have Fatal Strike to escape. The ult's thrown down, but Des says, I'll take it from here. Garfield's dead. Des gets the kill. 3 members of Banshees on the right side. They might be gearing up for this Queen Naga, but instead Snyx is going back to base. Same can be said for Des. Queen Naga just spawned and Shadows around.
Already something going the way of the Banshees yet again on this right-hand side, and Port Degree in a pretty comfortable spot. Now 2-level lead over Lord Garfield here. Has 3 items completed for this RDO, who should be able to just run down backliners at this point. So it really is going to be a battle of, you know, the damage dealers versus the tank here for the Banshees. Even Aurora's not in the worst state either with 2 items at this point on this Charon. Can still be impactful with that ult.
Summon Sticks thrown out. Wailing Banshees want to start this fight and hit 2 fears. Very nice. Port Degree finds a cripple but gets bursted down quick time. Hydro takes down Port Degree and Aurora's on the run. Rowing the boat away. And the Skyfall thrown down into the back line, a little bit off the mark, but Eternal Vanguard still continuing to chase through the mid lane, pushing them away from the Queen Naga while Hydrogen burns it down. That's a great zoning play from Eternal Vanguard. I mean, Hydro's burning it down quick. It's almost down. Aurora's still there, but doesn't have Summon Sticks to seal it. He used it for an engage. Wailing Banshees instead walked away from Queen Naga and rotated over to the Gold Fury. They're going to get that before Garfield can show up.
A nice pickup there by the Banshees. Again, just not on the same page. Not everyone was ready to fall off of Port Degrees, you know, zoning there, trying to get to the Hui Yi. Hydrogen just has so much damage to take down this bear character, as Lord Garfield might have stepped a little too far forward on this left-hand side. Uses that Fatal Strike defensively, as now Koja could be the target here on the back.
Yeah, Koja's a little bit too deep, and 4 members of Wailing Banshees realize that, but Eternal Vanguard's reinforcements have arrived. Hydrogen takes down Aurora. Axiom just killed Koja before he left, and Des getting cornered, and Garfield shuts them down. Des is dead. A great kill by Garfield. Piercing Moonlight straight for Axiom's head. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run. Shadow with another kill. Unstoppable.
Snix just has to go to this left-hand side and try and find any farm, and Fire Giant spawning. You can see Vanguard's hovering towards that objective, and I think they're going to go for it. They have the double ADC in this Hui Yi, in this Newt. They could just take and rip this objective.
They're going to rip it. That's exactly what they're going to do. And the burn is pretty quick. I mean, the only one that's around is Port Degree, but can Ardio steal the Fire Giant? Not very likely, but still showing presence. Maybe Aurora can. Summon Sticks a little early. Skyfall down to zone Aurora away. Throws the 2. Bacon gets the kill. Aurora is dead. Port Degree running for their life. And the Fire Giant's been dropped. Snicks showed up as well. Just have the teleport ready. And an ultimate not online, though. Koja Fox secures the Fire Giant. 5 members of EV with FG belts around their waist. It's Obsidian Dagger in pocket for Hydrogen. They're going to go for Pyromancer. Take that down, and then the mid lane pad. This is a huge jump in gold for EV. 5-18 is the scoreboard. They've got a 7K gold lead. This is huge for Eternal Vanguard, and very bad news for the Banshees.
You can see they're just so, you know, so cohesive on the side of the Vanguards. As soon as someone on the Banshees shows up to the party, to the Fire Giant to try and contest, they all drop it. Despite being, you know, around 3,000, 4,000 HP left, maybe even 2,000 at moments, they're still just not afraid to drop, look for the play, look for the fight, keep hold of the aggro so it doesn't heal back up. And then just as soon as we take out one member, as soon as we make them overstep, finish up the objective, and then that's it. That's the play. Banshees, though, splitting the map there. You can see Shadow has his beads forced by StixJ, but look at Vanguards. They're on the right-hand side completely grouped. They're looking at a maybe base race here at the very least.
But I don't think that Banshees are feeling the move. It's a pretty good burn from Vanguard on this tier 2. It's dropping pretty quick thanks to the Fire Giant buffs and 3 members pushing up with the pusher. But Axiom just got back to base. Can Axiom do much though? They're going for the burn on the bird. I think it's gonna happen. I think the Phoenix is gonna fall here. But Port Degree, Aurora, and out away goes Summon Sticks and finds 2 fears. Aurora continuing to go forward.
Oh, hello.
Hydro's in trouble, but dashing right over. Skyfall down. Does hit 2. Bacon in the air does massive damage, but up goes Des and does a bit of damage of their own. Eternal Vanguard have been pushed away from the bird, and that's the best that Banshees could have asked for.
Yeah, I mean, you don't lose the Phoenix on the right-hand side, but I mean, this Nuwa pick to me still is really struggling. You can see there, not enough damage on that ultimate at all, and so this character is really struggling, where I feel like if you go for the full int build, you're at least doing a good chunk of HP at this point in the game, but has to spend a lot more time farming here if, you know, Dest on this Nuwa wants to become more relevant. And remember, this was the first pick. This is kind of your ace character that's just really struggled in this entirety of the game so far.
A little bit of struggle, but hopefully there's some comeback opportunity. 20 minutes into the game, we're far from EFG territory, right? We've got 13 minutes, and Gold Fury still up for Wailing Banshees. I mean, yes, there is a pretty massive lead for EV as the tier 2 tower falls on the left side of the map for Banshees. That bird might be exposed, and everybody from Banshees is pushed up. They're not around in the base. Can they get back in time to defend the bird yet again? Bacon, Garfield on the bird and got it down to half health, and they're continuing to push forward. 4 members now for Vanguard across the bird in the lane, but Summon Sticks goes down, and the meteor shower follows through as well. Piercing Moonlight goes straight for Important Degree. Another kill for Shadow. Amazing play from Shadow all throughout this game. They're going to go back to base right after because Des has been pushing up left side. Des says, oh crap, let's go back.
Eternal Vanguard's backing very dangerously there. I feel like Banshees should have committed at least 1 or 2 members to try and stop the members of Vanguard's backing there. That's a big tempo play. Now you can see this left-hand side Phoenix being down. That is an avenue for the Vanguards to kind of have a much easier time around this next Fire Giant dance, as that is where they're heading, towards the Fire Giant. Instead, they'll get the Pyromancer, the mini Fire Giant, and get another bomb in pocket, and that's how they've been able to siege so effectively so far. Would like to see the Vanguards continue this pace. They've been driving it all game long. Banshees have been, you know, just struggling to find answers here as Shadow looking for a play around the Gold Fury.
Banshee started the burn on the Pyro, couldn't finish it. They did the same thing with the Gold Fury just now, couldn't finish it. Eternal Vanguard, push them out of the way, say, make way, little gup. The big dogs are here to take the Gold Fury, and they get their second one of the game.
Yeah, and that's a big play there. We're actually pretty even on pips at the very least, but the gold lead is just too massive. We're at the point where it's uh-oh territory. 10,000 gold favoring the Eternal Vanguards, you know, at 22 minutes in. Well, nearly 10,000. It's basically 10,000 more. Oh, there it is. There it is. You know, a couple minions here and there. And now it's 10,000. It's the uh-oh number here. Yeah. Yep. For the Vanguards. And I don't know, Banshees, they have a comp that if it goes late, yeah, they can do stuff, right? It's really just this Nuwa, though. I mean, you have an Uller that, yeah, does scale pretty decently well. I mean, I feel like Uller scales a lot better in Smite 2 than he ever did in Smite 1. Able to kind of one-shot someone off of an axe combo in the late game feels pretty good. But, I mean, just not the same scaling as, say, a Huiyi Newt and a Tsukiyomi in the late game. Even the Achilles can be very effective and very just tanky in the face of this Uller and Nuwa, and be a real menace. Koja Fox will always be relevant on this Sobek. Getting even tankier. Has bought a shell as their active item, and is just going to be very effective on this pick so far. Initiating fights, and then being incredibly safe with the ultimate. Lord Garfield pushed up. Does he get caught out, though?
Bad news. Cripple Field thrown down. No combat dodge available.
Oh, wow.
Garfield gets bursted down. Axiom's damage is online. Goodness. That was an ahead Garfield, by the way, ahead on the winning team, and still gets bursted down like that. And now the Vanguard are down 1. They're not going to rip Fire Giant easy peasy like they were. But let me ask you this, because Banshees don't live. I think if another Fire Giant goes the way of Eternal Vanguard, this game might be cooked. So how do Banshees go about the next Fire Giant burn? Do they try and stop the FG and go for a full-on fight? Do they want to steal? Do they have any gods that can steal?
I like what they're doing right now, the Banshees. They've put Dest in the right-hand side, give him some solo farm, allow him to just get some more items online, has finished the Titan's Bane, and that's a big pickup. Send someone to the left-hand side to stall out these fire waves, allow your Phoenix to respawn, make that map on even footing. But you can see Vanguards, they're taking this opportunity with Snicks on the left-hand side. They're burning the objective quick.
Yeah, Garfield just got out of base and walking up the right side of the jungle, going straight for the Fire Giant to secure the burn. Wailing Banshees hovering. It's down for 5K. Aurora does have Sunder and Summon Sticks down to 3K. The Shining Mist thrown forward. Caltrops thrown to slow down Wailing Banshees. But 3K make it 4. Vanguard just dropped it. A great play from Vanguard. Desk goes up into the air, throws some damage onto Bacon and Koja. Around to the side is Snicks, looking for an engage, but nothing can be found. Eternal Vanguard scatter.
I mean, nice play from the Vanguards. They know they can't fully commit with Aurora having Sunder there, and as soon as Garfield shows up, Snicks is also able to show up to the party and make the fight a full 5-on-5. And this is not a even fight here if Hydrogen and Lord Garfield stay, and Lord Garfield gets crippled again.
Fatal strike, but gets blocked away. A great play from Port Degree. Ult's thrown out from Snicks J to provide a bit of safety, but Piercing Moonlight goes straight for the back line. Snicks could be in trouble. Snicks is in trouble. Snicks is dead. Shadow gets another kill and then walks away right after. Garfield and Shadow low on health. Eternal Vanguard don't have the resources to take a Fire Giant, but I think that does a lot. I mean, they took Snicks J, they lowered Port Degree down to almost nothing. Port Degree still getting chased out through the jungle, then gets slowed by the Caltrops yet again. Can we talk about Shadow for 1 second, Book? Can we talk about how amazing Shadow has been in this game?
Yeah, pretty solid. I think this is Shadow's best character, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like this is one of his best characters for sure. Yeah. I mean, so consistent, able to dive, no fear whatsoever on this character. Picked up the blink as their active item there to just kind of get out to safety in moments like that, where once they go in, they have access to that combat blink to get away to safety. And then they also have the beads to avoid some CC immunity, some stun locks that the side of the Banshees have. So a lovely pickup there between the two relics. Aurora still has Sunder. Can he try and steal this one away, though, with Garfield zoning forward?
FG down to 3. It's down to 2. Aurora goes forward. Can he steal it? Sunder thrown out. And he steals it. Oh, no, he doesn't. He missed it. Aurora couldn't get it done. Koja Fox secures the Fire Giant. Gold Fury goes down. The Ancient Fury on the left side of the map. So that's something that Banshees can look out for. But Fire Giant goes to Vanguard. Dagger in hand once again for Hydrogen. Mid lane pad is going to go their way as well. Vanguard did get a lot, but I think those weakened towers does help Banshees ever so slightly. If they can somehow come out on top of a fight, they can maybe end the game.
Maybe. They still have to worry about those Phoenixes that will be, you know, not weakened. It's just the tier 2. So I think Vanguards feel pretty comfortable at pushing here, especially with Aurora dead for 9 seconds. But they got to go quick. Aurora spawning in 5. At the very least, he doesn't have ultimate available to him on this Charon. They're going to go for the left-hand side, weakened bird anyways, though.
They're running straight up to it. Vanguard have 5 members here on the left side of the map. The pyro bomb's thrown down, and it nukes the health bar on the Order Phoenix, and it's down. It is dead. A great play from Vanguard. Wait to utilize those belts. They scared away Banshees entirely, but they realize even with pushers going down lane, you have to be careful of those structures. You cannot let your Titan room get exposed because, I mean, we've seen it. Snicks J, Deaths that have tried a little bit of split pushing, not a lot, but if they're not careful, I mean, a split pushing player could make this game a little unreal for Eternal Vanguard.
Yeah, I agree. I think Vanguard doing a good job of just splitting right now, heading to the right-hand side, grouped after they push that left-hand side, and just not allowing Wailing Banshees to really split, because that's what they want to do. They want to keep finding farm here, level 20 here for the Uller, but still only level 19 for Dest. Doesn't have that starter item upgraded here, so still working towards the full build, and I don't even know if Banshees are going to contest this bird. They're going to try, but you can see the zonage here from Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow's doing a great job. The Caltrops alone hurt so bad. And Eternal Vanguard gets the bird, walk away. Snicks going for a pick, throws the ult down, but into the air. Bacon goes, throws Skyfall down, and does good damage. Snicks almost dead. Same thing with Bacon, but 2 birds weakened from Wailing Banshees. 2 birds dead, and 1 standing structure to defend the Titan room. Wailing Banshees are on life support. They've got 1 more fight, potentially 1 opportunity to get this game in the bag, or at least keep it going. Eternal Vanguard have never looked better.
I love that idea there from Snicks, but again, there's just no follow-up damage. Maybe just held on to that ultimate, charge it up a little too long. Just pop it, go for that damage, throw it out, because then you have Death's ultimate from a distance to follow up as well. But I mean, here Vanguard's just sieging this mid bird. Banshees don't have a lot of tools to defend, but already Koja taken low.
Koja's low, backs away. Hydro takes some damage as well. Bacon extremely low. Also, a lot of poke damage thrown out from Banshees. Axiom very low though. Around the corner is Port Degree looking to maybe get a pick, but Bacon gets back to base, heals up, and is A-OK for now. Ancient Fury is about to spawn, and Pyromancer the same. So I think Eternal Vanguard want a couple more tools to really break into the Titan room. They don't feel confident just yet.
I mean, this is smart here. Don't throw the game off of a Hail Mary or a missed siege opportunity there. Koja Fox takes too much poke, and so Vanguard said, okay, we're calling this off. We're backing away. Don't kind of stay around. Don't take some of their farm. Just walk away. do the neutral objective that'll make the game just a little bit easier to end next time around. And so Pyromancer going towards the Vanguards, and they're still sitting very comfortable here with 2 birds down. That left-hand side bird being down in particular is what's going to hurt the Banshees the most. They are struggling to push out these waves and then contest the objectives consistently. Even when it was a 4-on-5, you saw there, Vanguards were able to force members to hang out on the right-hand side. Snicks had to drop the left-hand wave and prioritize rotating over. And still Vanguards came out on top. And Vanguard's going to prioritize the Gold Fury here as Fire hasn't spawned yet. Maybe this is an avenue for the Banshees to kind of set up an ambush here or there.
At least they can get some vision, right? And see where Eternal Vanguard are sitting before the burn begins. The Ancient Fury taken down. And it goes to Eternal Vanguard. That weakened middle bird for Banshees. The last structure left is weakened. But all 5 members roaming. Wait. There's 5 from Banshees on the right side of the jungle, but left for Vanguard. No, they could. They very well could. Maybe they take this middle lane bird and add a little bit more pressure before the FG begins. That's really smart.
Yeah, nice play there, and they are grouped, but look at this. Banshees are here.
And Summon Sticks is out. Aurora looking for a pick. Skyfall does great damage. Axiom in very big trouble. Garfield goes into the back line, couldn't find a pick. Lurking in the waters, forced away from Koja Fox. Aurora, Axiom, Snicks J very low. 5 members of Eternal Vanguard are low, but still walk towards the FG. I think they need a recall first.
They do, and Snicks says this is an opportunity to go in. I feel like this is the Banshees' best chance here. They have to force something sooner rather than later. With the left-hand side, Phoenix being weakened as well, and health bars low. I feel like Banshees, they have to pull this.
Yeah, Banshees have to do something. They have to make a play here. That's exactly what they're going to do. Look at where Shadow is. Shadow's nowhere to be found. The #1 player for Vanguard is nowhere to be seen, and Banshees are going to rip the FG because of it. Koja Fox goes in looking to secure, but Death is going to get the Fire Giant. Death got FG. 5 members of Banshee with FG belts, but dagger in hand for Koja. Koja got the dagger. That's a big play, but Sticks goes straight for Garfield, and Axiom kills Koja before he can even use the dagger. They got the dagger back. Banshees are in charge. What a massive play. Everything's turned over on its head. Banshees might have a shot at this one, Book.
As soon as I thought the play originally from the Vanguards was just take the weakened Phoenix as it spawned on the left-hand side, because that'll grant you pressure for this next Fire Giant. Instead, they go to the mid-bird, try to force that, and yeah, they kind of get some good damage off. They get the bird, sure, but their health bars got taken too low that they had to send some members back to base. Both Hydrogen and Bacon were scared. They had to back to base, heal up their health bars. And that gives Banshees their opportunity to heal back up in their own Titan room and then make a play around the fire. Destined trouble, though. Has that Aegis.
Time lock Aegis forced away. Shadow looking for a pick, but the dagger still in hand. Needs to use it, but decided to go up into the air as well. Aurora barely picked up the dagger. Summon Sticks is out, looking for somebody in the back line. Does find a fear on Bacon. Bacon surely in trouble. A great play from Aurora and a great secure from Axiom. Bacon is dead, but same as Des. Both mid laners are deceased. This is a big play for Banshees. Can they capitalize off of Bacon being down, or what will they do to bide their time?
I mean, they're happy to just sit back and let the game come to them. The later this goes, the better it gets for the Banshees. I mean, now you have an opportunity to just push out these waves. Let all 3 of your Phoenixes respawn and heal back up. You see Lord Garfield on the left-hand side just trying to put pressure somewhere here. But, I mean, Banshee's doing a great job of punishing the over-aggression from the Vanguards consistently now.
Vanguard around the EFG pit, but EFG not nearly spawned yet. Pyromancer is going to be the pickup for Banshees. And Eternal Vanguard hovering. Maybe they steal. I don't know what they use to steal, but they're showing face like they want to. At least just showing that they're present. Look at Garfield on the left side. Maybe looking for a flank, but Axiom and Snicks are playing it safe. Aurora's a bit out of position. Does get stunned, and a charge spray off the blink to follow. A great play from Koja, and down goes Aurora. The dagger couldn't have been used. It got picked up by Hydro. A great dagger play. Now Hydro's got it. Wailing Banshees just lost Aurora. They've only got 2 members with FG, and Vanguard back in control. They're going to get the pushers down the lane and send them. Then they go for Ancient Fury right after. They can recall, they can teleport onto a pusher, and then go for one of these sidebirds. But the Runic Bomb for the Pyromancer needs to be gotten.
I mean, that dagger, every time it's dropped, that cooldown or the drop time for it resets. So it's sitting at 140 here for Hydrogen. He can be very comfortable playing aggressive for the next 2 minutes here on this Hui. And all these players have got to start using this dagger properly, man. I mean, consistently now it's being dropped and dropped and dropped by everyone. Aurora, I get it, has no way out of there once he's plucked and CC'd. And I think Aurora might want to think about investing in maybe a Magi's Cloak or a Beads himself, because consistently now he's been the target of Koja Fox's CC. Pluck into danger, and the Vanguards are right there to back him up. Does have Talisman of Purification now picked up on the Charon, so he's on the way with this active tool.
The burn begins on the Ancient Fury. It's down to 8K. Dest is hovering. Same with Snicks, looking for something. A great poke, but Garfield take it down somewhat low. Ancient Fury, 7K, make it 6. Bacon goes up with Skyfall to zone away Banshees just a tad. Vanguard drop it entirely. They dropped the Ancient Fury. They weren't feeling it. Death goes into the air. Wow, that's a lot of damage thrown onto Vanguard, and Banshees can capitalize. Banshees just secured the Ancient Fury. A great play by Snicks J. The Gold Fury goes for the Banshees, and those tier 2s are weakened once more. That is a great tool to have if Banshees win this next fight. Vanguard sent packing back to base. EFG about to spawn.
Okay, looking for a play here, but they got to be careful. There is a Brute minion pushing down mid here for the Vanguards. And they send Axiom back. This could be an opportunity now for Shadow to look for a play here. Looking to chase someone down between him and Koja, but Snicks not going to give him the avenue. This is game 1, and actually Snicks does get caught there.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Snicks goes forward, going for Koja. Summon Snicks to follow through, lurking the waters. Force from Koja. Does find a fear, but way down in range, and nobody can capitalize from Banshees. Nobody's around. Ultimate's down for Wailing Banshees, but Eternal Vanguard also don't have ults, so a lot of tools taken away. Eternal Vanguard looking at the EFG. Can they pull? Not so sure. I mean, I don't know. It feels like we've had some confidence issues from Eternal Vanguard. They've had a lead for a lot of the game. They've got a good team fight. But even with all of that said, it seems like they've had some issues. Oh, I don't think we can secure it. I don't think we can end yet. We've got to make a play.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that Lord Garfield has been zoning around these Fire Giants. And Sunder isn't, as great of a tool to out-secure your opponents as it used to be. It's still solid, but Aurora has one as well. And that's why Vanguards, when the Charon is still up, they don't feel comfortable of 50-50ing these objectives, and they don't have the best secure themselves. I mean, what is it? It's probably Hydrogen's Ricochet, in all honesty, or one of Shadow's abilities. There's just not a lot of secure on their side outside of the Sunder for Lord Garfield, and despite that, they still don't feel comfortable 50-50ing the objective.
38 minutes into this game, 10-25. And a lot of Gold Furies have been taken. A lot of blood has been spilled, but it seems like we're more neck and neck than ever. Wailing Banshees, Eternal Vanguard. Oh my God, the stun was massive. The blink has been shut down by Koja. That's a huge resource taken away from Vanguard. Koja no longer has the blink, and a great outplay by Axiom.
Yeah, they get the Pyromancer, but that's been a huge tool that Koja has been using to get to a key target, pluck them into danger. So now the initiation on the side of the Vanguards becomes a lot worse for the next, 114 seconds. So what does Banshees do in this time? Do they look for a go button here? The problem is their go button just isn't the best. It kind of is just Snicks going in, looking for a pull on the key targets. Yeah, you can kind of use Aurora's ult, but you really want to use the Charon ultimate in the middle of a team fight. Cause chaos and havoc, and more of a chase tool than an initiation start fight.
So without Charge Prey available, the Blink Pluck not online, what is the play for Eternal Vanguard to start a fight?
They can wait.
They've been dropping a lot of objectives, but I mean, if they wait, I guess you're right. I didn't even think of that being a thing.
This is how the game state has gone. Both teams happy to sit on their hands and wait for the right tools. I mean, Banshees have shown the Vanguards consistently that they're not comfortable pulling the objectives at all in front of them. And so Vanguard are just saying, okay, we'll wait. We'll wait the extra 50 seconds now, because it's already been a minute. Only less than a minute away from till Vanguards have access to that tool yet again. And what? You're going to tell me that Axiom's going to get lucky twice and throw that axe right as he's going for the Charge Prey again? That is a tough one here for Banshees that they don't really get a lot in that downtime.
Very true. Very true. It's just it's I don't know how this starts. I mean, it's just we're all just standing around. That's what it feels like. Like, you know, there's a purpose for Vanguard to wait. And between all this conversation we've had about what can happen while we wait for Blink to come back, it's got 15 seconds. It's about to be back. They just go for the plug again. But what if the outplay happens once more? I mean, it just seems like we're very back and forth. What is the move? What is the play? Neither team is initiating. We're kind of just standing here waiting for somebody to step out.
Do you want to note those 6 items completed for everyone pretty much this game? And that's important for the Banshees. They've hit their important power spikes, but I mean, yeah, the Nuwa ultimate is hitting, but it's not to the same rate as, say, a full int Nuwa ult would hit at this stage of the game. You know, 40 minutes in, that Nuwa ult is doing so much damage to the backline, the carries on the side of the Vanguards. And with this full basic attack build, it's just not doing the same level. It's more about the damage on the ground that this Nuwa is able to commit to these fights. So it's going to be interesting to see how Des pilots this next fight on the ground versus how they're looking to whittle down members and take down and poke down members in the sky. That I think is going to be so interesting about this build and this character.
Oh, look at Hydro. Walks over to the Ancient Fury, drops a ward, and then rotates back. But Banshees realize. Banshees say, okay, Hydro's gone. Let's go. No, let's not go for it.
They got the ult, though.
Oh,
they got
Skyfall. Ow! My God! But into the air goes Des for an ult of their own. Ult for ult from both mid laners. A bit of poke thrown around, but that's okay. They're going to heal up thanks to the Amanita charm.
Oh no, Des back to base, and so now Eternal Vanguards feel comfortable. I don't think they realize that Des back to base because of where they decided to back, and so Banshees are able to position like they have 5 members strong. You see Koja has that blink, is looking for that avenue. Would have liked to have seen Koja upgrade that into an active item so he can use it as a combat blink. You can see Koja's really struggling to play forward and not receive any poke whatsoever before they can engage. So I feel like that might be a missed opportunity. Yeah, he wants to be tanky once he blinks in, but I think Koja has to upgrade this relic here into an active item to be able to use it more effectively in combat.
43 almost minutes into this game, and it's the EFG song and dance that we all know and love, and neither team can really find an advantage. But pushing up the left side is Snicks. Shadow is around.
He doesn't see him
for a one-on-one. Who can run the fade? Shadow goes in and finds a lot of damage, but the ult thrown out. Time lock Aegis to go away, but right in the middle of the couch drops. Nowhere for Snicks to go. Shadow gets the kill. A great outplay by Shadow. Pyromancer taken down by Vanguard. In the meantime, a great play by EV. Throughout both sides of the map, really. An objective and a kill. Snicks J is dead for a minute. EFG could be a pull here.
Yeah, they have to. Shadow has no ultimate, though. Does have beads, and so that will be the way that they play this fight. But Shadow not having ultimate is a big deal. That's how he's gotten to the backline consistently, but Fire getting low here.
10,000, 9,000, make it 8. Aurora has Sunder online, and the summon sticks to throw. It's down to 6.
Oh, the
Meteor lock it in place, and they can't get in. Hydro secures it. A great play from Hydro, and EFG in hand for EV. And Wailing Banshees have lost something huge here. What is going to be their response? The pushers are going to get picked up here in the mid lane, and with 4 minutes on the EFG buffs, I don't know if Banshees make it out of this.
Banshees, they're looking for a play. They might have to base race this. They realize that if the game goes to a full stalemate, they'll lose the Ritual, they'll lose the Gold Fury, and their Phoenixes will all be weakened. They have to make a play. They'll push the right-hand side, expose the base of the Vanguards, but they don't push any further. Maybe they will, though. They're actually wrapping around here. I'm not sure if they're going to go for the tier 2 or if they're going to try and base race this maybe. I feel like Snicks is up. They have to try.
They're going for the base race. That's what they're doing. 4 members of Banshees on the bird, and it's dropping down quick. Going back to base is Koja. Koja's going back. Now Vanguard, I mean, they can't go over it. They have to try and defend the base. The Titans getting siege, but Banshees going for it. They're going for the burn. Bacon takes down Snicks in mid lane, but the bird goes on to the Titan. Banshees making a play. Hydro's got the dagger, and a couple kills going for EV. They got back to base. They defended the Titan, and Banshees all dead. A deicide in the Titan room. EV just got back in the barely amount of time needed to defend the room, and EV walking down mid lane from there. Banshees almost had it. It was in the palm of their hand, but it got taken out like candy from a baby by Eternal Vanguard. Says, what do you think you're doing? This game is ours.
I like the thought process there for the Banshees where they get the right-hand side bird, but after that, and you know that members on Eternal Vanguards are going to back, you have to back to base or back away at the very least, because Vanguards, they're just so much stronger in that moment. They have enhanced Fire Giant, and there's 2 tier 2 towers up. The HP on that Titan is too strong to deal with. I feel like the Banshees, they made a great macro map play, and that's all they needed to do. Get the bird and walk away. Just leave it. That's the play. Or at least threaten to force more members to back. And Snicks had a nice little play in the mid lane, made Bacon hesitate, tried to go for the 1v1, lost it in the end. And so Eternal Vanguards come away with the victory here in game 1. That was just game 1 more.
That was just game 1. We might be here for a while, Book, because it felt like a long time, especially once you got to the EFG phase. I mean, every move matters so much when death timers are so long, and that was just intense to see. A great play. Like you said, I love the vision that they saw at the end there. Try and backdoor it, try and slam it, thinking they could base race, but instead of going for the base race, EV just went back to base. They killed everyone cold blood very quickly and then ran it down from there. So you know, it was a great attempt, but it did get shut down, and it ended with Vanguard having game 1 dub.
I'd be interesting to go back and see where Dest used their ultimate in that moment, because I feel like there's so many little macro plays that Banshees could have done a little differently here to try and, you know, get that victory in that moment. But I mean, look, when I look at these 2 comps and I see 14-0, 8-0 for Hydrogen and Shadow respectively, 2 goose eggs for both those 2 carry players, just looks so comfortable. 45k damage for Shadow on this Tsukiyomi was just absolutely popping off this game 1.
A great play at the end of the game from Vanguard will get them the W, and great gameplay, like you said, from Shadow and Hydro. But can they make it happen in game 2, or will this go to game 3? We'll find out in just a moment. We're going to take a quick ad break. We'll be back in a few. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OSL Olympus Smite League. We're here to watch Game 2 of the Wailing Banshees between Eternal Vanguard, the Athens Division's finest, happening right now on Smite Game. If you don't already know me, my name's Morty. We've got Tesdai in the production booth making everything happen. And next to me here is Spirited Book. And Book, we just saw a pretty intense Game 1. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, that was it was a pretty one-sided affair for most of that game. I feel like the Vanguards just had the better edge against the Wailing Banshees for most of that game, and I feel like that was more the Banshees dragging that game out than really getting themselves back into even footing for a lot of that game. And I think a lot of it comes down to the draft. I feel like there were no easy tools to kind of effectively dive the back line outside of maybe Snicks going for it. There was no easy front to back way to play these fights. You can see Koja blinking in pretty consistently. That one play, that lovely axe into the blink pluck, was the only time that we really saw Koja get threatened when they were diving consistently. So I like the thought process. You know, it all looks nice. You know, Aurora's got that Charon for big AoE team fights, but I would have liked to have seen that paired up maybe with a different hunter pick. I get Axiom is the sub and they're comfortable on the Euler, but it's just put a Jingwei in there and on her. Even the Hui Yi would have been great there. I feel like a lot of lockdown would have been pretty significant for that Banshees comp. So looking to see if they shift things up here for game number 2, I think is going to be really important for this team.
This is gonna be fun.
As Jingwei is going to be the first pick for Axiom, I think that's a good change of pace. Like you said, more DPS is needed. The burst was nice. I don't think the Euler was a bad play from Axiom. I don't think he played the god bad. I think it's just, it didn't fit well into the comp. I think you said it best. And Jingwei is going to provide that necessary change to make sure that Banshees have a little bit easier of a time when it comes to objective burn. Every team, you know, for objective plays needs 2 things. You need objective burn, you need objective secure. They didn't really have either, really. I feel like, and that's kind of why they suffered when it came to objectives. They did rip a couple of gold furies here and there. They were great at macro play and splitting the map, but the plays or the gods didn't really complement their play style.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thought process was there. You could see there were moments where both teams, I feel like, had good macro plays, and I feel like the Banshees arguably had really good responses, arguably better responses to the Vanguard at times, where, you know, they're losing everywhere. Let's go right. Let's make plays. Okay, we're losing on the right side. Let's go get the gold fury. Lovely macro plays as responses, but at some point you have to get yourself in the driver's seat, and I would love to see the Banshees draft something that lets them do that. The Jingwei is a nice start. You can put the Jingwei on an island, and these are 2 interesting picks here between the Thor and the Ares, 2 huge beads burn characters that can be very effective for their composition already, as well as pace driving. I feel like that's what was missing. Susano can kind of play as a pace driving character, but the Thor, every time that ultimate is up, it's not up for long because you're using it to make a play.
And Hercules gets picked up as well for Wailing Banshees. And I think that really says a lot for how their team fights are going to go. You've got great engage from No Escape, or it can at least pull some beads, and then Thor can go into the back line without having to worry about relics. That seems like a very, very solid team comp. And then you've got a big excavate knockup to follow through from whoever Hercules goes to. And then to follow up with all that crowd control, Des picks up Ra. This is a nice pick. I like this pickup from Banshees. This team comp is looking pretty solid. But on the other side, Discordia, Kabrakan, Eset, Apollo, what are we looking at here? What's the strengths?
Yeah, look, I was so ready to say Banshees have such a good setup comp in there. Thor, their Ares, and Hercules, and then they have good damage for their Jingwei. That's all her job is going to be able to do. And then I would have loved to have seen something like a Merlin paired up alongside this composition. But Raw is going to really struggle against this Vanguard's composition that has a ton of lockdown. The Discordia has good CC. Kabrakan, big lockdown with the walls and the stun on stun on stun. Eset as well, going to be in the support role, I imagine, here for the Vanguards. And now Apollo as well. Just so much dive that this Raw is going to have a really hard time playing the game, especially because they don't have a lot of peel tools around them. It's an Ares that wants to be playing forward and being the initiator, starting fights. Can't really play as that peel bot for this Raw.
Can you keep up?
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that because, I mean, Ra is going to be left alone quite a bit. Danza Burrow. Okay, so Now, I'm wondering who the jungle. I feel like I've seen
Apollo.
a little bit of jungle Danzaburo. I've seen a little bit of jungle Apollo. And if you say it's Apollo, I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, I feel like Hydrogen is one of those players that does play the Danzabura in the ADC role in particular, and I feel like this is going to be one of his characters. Maybe it is Shadow though, but I think I have seen Shadow play Apollo jungle once upon a time, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's his character in this game. Again, I come back to this. Raw's going to have a really hard time playing the game into this composition that the Vanguards have. They have so much damage and lockdown CC. You now have the sake for Danzaburo. Like, yeah, I feel like Dest is just going to have a really hard time playing this game for sure.
It's going to take a lot to make it happen, but no player better than Dest. Like we said, loves to pick up these not as traditional picks and then make them look good. But how good can Dest make this Raw look? I guess we'll have to find out once the game comes around. But 5-on-5, if you were a bet man, Book, where would you put your money?
I think in terms of the comps, I would want to favor if it was a different mid laner again, I think I would pick Banshees through and through. For me, it's probably Vanguards here. There is one caveat. I feel like if Banshees are the ones playing forward, looking for the soft plays, you know, there's a lot of soft engage on their team where they can throw out a Herc knockup. They can throw out a Thor stun, and Thor stun, incredibly underrated for just starting off close range fights. They can just Thor stun, follow up with raw damage. That's an easy burst target. So if Banshees are able to execute the soft plays, you know, look to pull beads here or there, and then maybe force an Aegis off of a combo properly or combo effectively in general. And I feel like Banshees have an opportunity. The problem is going to be when the Vanguards, who have already taken a 40-minute game 1 W, are going to feel so good going into this game 2, so confident. That's why we see this Danzabura pickup. And now you're able to just W key. You want to play to W key, and you're going to have the confidence to do exactly that.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. I definitely see it because there's a lot to love about the Danzaburo damage alone, right? This got hurts. I mean, I don't know if we're going to be going for DPS or for solid burst. I mean, for all we know, I guess the reason why I was a little more convinced it was Shadow, because Shadow loves the Transcendence, Book of Thoth build, where you just have very high ability damage. And Danzaburo can kind of do the same thing. But, I mean, I also believe there's a lot to love about Apollo jungle. I mean, the aspect of it has been extremely strong. Even with that aspect, you still have very high DPS. And that's what they're able to utilize with that comp last game. You've got 2 carries on your team. Let's go to Gold Fury. Let's knock it down in 20 seconds, maybe 15, you know? Maybe let's go to Fire Giant, do the same thing, 30 seconds. Pyromancer, 15. They can rip objectives so quickly that macro play feels a lot easier than it is. Banshees had great macro play, but we already talked that they just don't have they didn't have the comp to make it look good last game. Now they do this game, but can they capitalize on that? Eternal Vanguard, you know, they might look to do a thing or two to shut them down. I guess the biggest concern that I had looking at their comp is that this Cabrakan wall, it can be very nice or it can be not so nice for Discordia's Golden Apple, right? Now imagine you lock somebody in place and, oh no, I have no way to get over the wall. Then Golden Apple goes straight to them. They've got nowhere to go. But let's say that Thor hammers away. Let's say that there's a Phantom Shell and goes right over. The Golden Apple is not going to go through the Cabrakan wall. It's just going to bounce right back to Bacon and be like, crap. Like, I don't know. This could be good or bad.
Golden Apple won't go through, or the Rocket won't go through. Both of them are going to struggle from this Cabrakan walls.
So we'll find out how everything plays out as we get into the game right here, right now. For those of you just now joining us, Wailing Banshees up against Eternal Vanguard, the last regular season game of the season before we get into the preliminary round of the playoffs. My name's Morty, joined by Tesdai behind the scenes and Spirited Book with me here in the booth. And look at what Banshees are doing. They're curving around all the way past the tier 2 and looking for a flank on this side, but 5 members from Vanguard are
Bacon hasn't spotted it. Bacon hasn't spotted it at all.
Bacon doesn't know. Bacon's in trouble, but a great silence. What's going to happen? A knockup from the 2 from Hercules, and Styx is able to pick up the kill, but what will happen? A shell in response, so Aurora doesn't pass. A great response from Vanguard to maybe try and find a kill, but the shell barely saved the life of Aurora. What a ratty play.
I mean, a nice play, though. You take down Bacon. You force Bacon to get the 2, which is not good clear in the mid lane. So Dest going to have huge priority here in the lane already. Bacon are going to have to spend some time just farming safely, I think, and actually wonder if Bacon is going to start in the wave at all. You could see Bacon kind of hovering there. No, now he'll head towards the mid lane, maybe a little worried about a potential re-gank here in his own jungle, and both mids will do the classic mid thing of walking to the opponent wave and then clearing them when not really hitting each other. So a big play, though, for the Banshees, and that's a good momentum play. You just lost a 40-minute game. The other team's going to feel so confident. What better way than to tilt your opponents than running at them in their own jungle and taking them down before the first waves even really spawn, in all honesty?
Yeah, it's a mental boom. I like where their thought process is at. But walk me through this mid lane matchup. We talked about how Ra might not be the best fit for the team comp, but how does Ra versus Disco work out?
I feel like the matchup is pretty fair. I think both mids are pretty, just want to clear the wave. I think the Disco has a little more, potential 1v1 because of a little bit of extra CC in the kit. But outside of that, it really is just both mids want to clear the wave, then rotate out to help out their junglers, split some farm, focus on these neutral camps that are going to be spawning. And I think that is where the difference maker is the Ra having a little bit more on-demand burst damage in this early game as a wall connects. And already that double tap does a good chunk of damage on a Bacon.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think that's what makes me, I believe we might see a gem of focus, or maybe 2 gem of focus for each mid laner, and maybe want to rotate out and get active at Firebrand, solo lane, duo lane, wherever, to make use of the early game. Instead of trying to kill each other, it's going to be a bit hard considering how slippery Bacon can be with this Discordia pick, or even Des, because you've got movement speed within your kit to help you move around a little bit faster as 3 members from each team around the mid lane camp for duo lane. Snix J lands a good stun, does some damage, it goes in after the hammer, and looks for some damage onto Shadow. Beats forced away, and a lot of damage dealt. Shadow surely in trouble, but sticks around for some damage. A Spirit Ball lands by Koja Fox, but not a lot of follow-up from EV. That's fine. No kills suffered, but a bit of a dominance shown.
Yeah, and already that beads pulling from Shadow, though, is something to note. That combo we talked about a bit ago, that wall into raw damage, will become prevalent as soon as Des hits level 5, and now with Shadow not having access to that beads, makes him a prime target for exactly that combo. That could be something that Wailing Banshees look towards, especially with these Firebrands spawning fairly soon. We often see junglers rotate to this right-hand side, and already see Snix doing exactly that, using that teleporter just to get the farm here first, but will likely rotate to prioritize a lane. Interested to see which one he goes towards. Might actually run just to the Firebrands instead, because Shadow also already on the way that way, and it's up. And so Snix being here first means he has prime opportunity, but likely wants to wait for someone to rotate before he fully commits to this objective.
That's exactly what he's doing here. Exactly right, because look who just showed up. It's Bacon, but nowhere to be found is Des. Des is a little bit late, which means Firebrands are going to go the wave. Eternal Vanguard able to find a wall, and an
there you go.
Follow. Driving Strike takes a Shadow out of place, but an Ash back to safety. Boulder thrown from downtown. A great throw from Port Degree. He's going to lock them in place and get the kill. Shadow dead. Second blood found for Banshees. Oh, Des with a hyper beam from downtown. Port Degree with the Driving Strike to follow. Down go to members of Vanguard. They might have got the Firebrands, but they're not going to live to see the results.
That's that combo I was talking about. Wall into ultimate from the Ra, and off to a good start are the Banshees. They're sitting in a really good, comfortable position. Yeah, they lost a little bit more of those Firebrands because of Bacon having priority in the mid lane over Des, but still, the impact is made. So much CC as Aurora takes a spill on the left-hand side, and Axiom does as well.
Oh my god, dual lane dead for Banshees. Vanguard able to find 2 kills. Okay, so maybe Vanguard can play through duo if they want to get a snowball started. I think that's fine considering Gold Fury comes up in less than a minute. I don't know. I mean, that could be the move.
It could be. I already don't like the direction that Axiom is taking their build here on the Jingwei, going towards what I believe is a Rage first. I just, Devos makes so much sense to me as of late. I feel like we've been seeing so many ADCs going towards it. Hydrogen, we saw do it last game, was at over 100 stacks by the end of it because of how late the game went. That item just continually scales so well. The later the game goes, the stronger you get. Maybe Axiom feels like there's going to be a ton of scrapping early, especially with an Ares in his lane, but I feel like this Jingwei, the only job here is to just farm it out. You're not going to win a 1v1 against Hydrogen on this Danzabura early, or honestly for a hot minute ever. And so I feel like just farm it out, play for the Devourers, as we do see Hydrogen going for that build like you mentioned, the double stacking combo. Transcendence completed first here, as right side neutrals does go the way of Wailing Banshees.
Big damage thrown by Snicks. The hammer combo is massive, especially because the aspect of Thunderstruck wasn't picked up. Yes, getting some poke damage on the Bacon. The golden apple thrown. It does good damage on the Des, who's extremely low, but Snicks goes over the wall with the hammer teleport, and in with the 3. Bacon is dead. A great kill for Snicks, who's 2-0-2. That's a pretty solid start, and Port Degree as well.
Yeah, Port Degree rotating out consistently here on the right-hand side. Has been at every play. I mean, so far this game, 100% kill participation for the... Honestly, these 3 players in particular, Port Degree, Snicks, and Des now all have 100% kill participation for their team. I mean, this trio is working so well together, way better than last game for sure. They're just sitting comfortably and continually making plays, forcing relics there. They got Bacon's ult and relic. Look to see them take advantage of it now with this Ares that's rotated out.
And it's been a good early game so far. Banshee's able to get first blood and grab a couple kills here and there. 2-0-2 is a great start for both Port and Snicks, but I mean 1-0-1 for both Koja and Hydro here in duo. What do you think matters more though? Is it the lead for your solo and jungle, or duo lane getting ahead?
I mean, like I mentioned last game, Hydrogen is a carry player for this team. Can do so much work in these games. Very comfortable in this role. I feel like him having a lead is very prominent for this team. Can be very effective, especially on a playmaker like Danzabura, who can make his own plays, doesn't have the aspect, will have access to the taunt on that 2 ability. So look to Hydrogen to just look to force plays, maybe set up plays for himself and go for 1v1s. We already saw that 2v2 on the left-hand side was very efficient for the Eternal Vanguards comp. And Eternal Vanguards as a whole now, we've seen them kind of just group up a little more here now. This mid 3v3 as Shadow ulting here on the right-hand side, looking for Port.
Oh, the knockup was Beads, and in goes Shadow looking for Port, but the knockup doesn't land, but Driving Strike does. A great mez might provide some safety, but no escape pulled and no Beads already because it just got used for the Herc Boulder. Look at Aurora capitalizing on the relics, but can we find the kill right after? Yes, we can. Shadow is dead. A great kill from Aurora, but the fight continues, and Bacon's in trouble. Des gets the kill. The 2 barely lands, and a blinding kill. Bacon's down, but able to find revenge. Oh my God, the wall locked him in place. A fantastic play by Snicks. 2 members dead on each team. And showing up is Lord Garfield, but can't do much. The damage from Snicks and Port Degree is too much to handle. Firebrand's going the way of the Banshees, and this mid lane pad just got some focus from Axiom.
Yeah, Axiom rotates on left. He's going to lose a ton of farm here from this left-hand side, but it'll be a big team win here as 4 members dead on the side of the Vanguards. That's a huge tempo play for the Banshees there. Love that look. And already we're starting to see the CC combo potential as Snicks is able to just wall Koja in place and then body block the E set from being able to walk away to safety. Puts them in a really bad spot. So love this idea that the Banshees have really drafted this game. Yeah, you have a little bit less CC from your support who really just has that no escape for the Ares, but a ton of extra damage for Aurora. You know, Dest is not a lot of CC, but has a ton of damage in kit. So I love the identity here for the Banshees in their solo and jungle. Be the CC setup because we know that our mid ADC will carry if the game goes later.
That's exactly true. Exactly right. I mean, maybe things look good for now for Banshees, but as Hydro gets more and more online, I mean, he's just going to get stronger. He's going to put this game on his back. We know Hydro to be this carry player who's used to other playmaking players, you know, Paul, everybody else on Clocked In, Tegfear, able to capitalize. So if Koja and Shadow can set up Hydro as well as they can, this will be a great comp. But no way Snicks lands the sun. Aurora follows with the shackles and crippled in place. Koja's deceased in their own jungle. Banshees rotate over to the Gold Fury and have 3 members. Axiom could make it 4, but Hydro's putting on a little bit of pressure. Snicks says, okay, I'll rotate over and help you out with Hydro. Surely he falls here, but not able to get into the ult, getting body blocked away Hydro's able to juke through the invis, and the sake bottle thrown down and into the rocket he goes, but lands straight for a kill. Can you take one with you to the grave? Axiom barely alive with 50 health, and the Gold Fury going the way of the Banshees, but Shadow kills Port Degree in solo.
Shades of game one, where it was Banshees that were losing everywhere on the map and then went to right side the soul lane to make a play. Shadow doing exactly that, knows that Gold Fury's gone, knows his ADC is gone, makes a play on the right hand side, at the least takes down Port Degree, but all up for the Banshees. They get the gold, they kill Hydro as well. And you mentioned the build for Hydro, and Hydro as a carry player in general. I don't like the double stacking Danza build. I get it's his best kind of way to effectively get out damage, but when you see a crit Jingwei on the other side, and as the game goes later, the crit Jingwei will just always do more. It's very hard to match, and I loved the Apollo pickup because I'm like, oh, Hydrogen is going to match the Jingwei crit with Apollo crit, which is also pretty solid because you can dive the backline, crit one-shot someone on the other side, and that's how you kind of match it. But now when you've gone for this strength infield, you can already see struggling here against the crit, and that, I'll give that to Axiom. That to me is a solo kill.
Yeah, that really is. I'm starting to see the flaws you're pointing out. It's unfolding on screen. And I think everything you said is true. Another flaw that's pointed out to me is that you've got to get away from Aurora, right? And you do have CC immunity with no escape, but if you're walled in by a Thor wall, there's no jump for Danza. You can't get over it. There's no way for you to go without a Phantom Shell being thrown out by Koja. So that Thor wall can really be bad for Hydro as Vanguard go into Banshee's jungle and look for a pick. Beats forced away from Snicks, able to grab red buff and then maybe escape. And Snicks going into the air.
Ooh.
Where will they land? Fight unfolding under them. Koja looking for a stun and able to take down Des, but Beats forced out from one. Shadow does kill Aurora, and into the chariot Shadow goes. Are we gonna go for another kill? But maybe we peel back and go towards Pyro or the fire brands. Brands coming up in 10 seconds. We'll have to drop down to save our mana.
Man, I mean, just Banshees, just let the red buff go. You don't have to force that fight there. And a big win for the Vanguards. They take the red buff and take 2 lives. Big shutdowns going their way. At the very least, Snicks wasn't one to fall, and that would have been a major shutdown that goes the way of the Vanguards that you just cannot afford at this stage. As we see Hydro committing the ult, trying to go for a solo kill on this left-hand side, but under the tower, Axiom is just too difficult to kill with that rocket. As you can see here, hunting Hydrogen, looking for that kill.
Dang, that was close, and Fool's going a bit out of range, but I like the idea, right? Hydro really wants to capitalize on the early game damage that Danza has, but just can't make a kill happen. There's not a lot of setup for Hydro yet. He's trying to get it done by himself, but that pesky tower is in the way, and he can't get to Axiom.
Yeah, just unfortunate there. And now you can see 2 rage stacks here for Axiom, sitting very comfortable 13 minutes in. And this is the benefit here of going rages. He's got stacks early as a kill on the right-hand side goes the way of Snicks and Port Degree, and they'll look to take down the tier 1 on the right-hand side. A lot of gold being injected to the Wailing Banshees. They get the first tower of the game.
They've been doing much better early game wise.
Yeah.
Vanguard looked a lot smoother early, but I think Snicks on this Thor pick has been just doing so much damage as the fight unfolds here in mid. Aurora's getting the chains out and shackled in place and in big trouble. Koja on the run. In comes Snicks from downtown, and a one stop right to mid lane and a celestial beam to follow. Des is just doing so much damage. Aurora with so much setup. It's Snicks Day from out of nowhere, but look at Hydro from that side of the jungle. What are you doing there, Hydro? And ends up walking away with Death's life and Aurora's head on a chain. Beautiful play from Hydro for revenge.
At the very least, Port Degree's rotation means the Banshees will get the second Gold Fury here, so that is going to be a net win for them, unless Shadow can do something about it, but can't get there in time. And now it has to be so careful. The Mez, though, will keep him topped up.
Oh my God, this has been crazy. I mean, I feel like this came out of nowhere, Book. It's been relatively slow. I don't want to say a slow game, but a bit slower than what we're used to. But then all these kills just started coming out of nowhere. Aggression out of the gates, and you want to get set up because guess where we're at, Spirited Book? It's the the famous mid of the game moment. 15 minutes means the Queen Naga online. The Gold Fury not able to be taken, but the Pyro respawns in just a moment, and the pad to be worried about very soon. A lot of objectives to be looked at. This is where macro play shines.
I love what Hydrogen is doing, keeping Axiom under their tower here. Normally, this is where Jingweis want to back to base and then rotate on over with that passive to the right-hand side, but this is a nice play here. They're looking for Lord Garfield, who's on his own.
And trying to stun his way out of this, but I don't think Garfield falls anytime soon, but going straight for Axiom's head, getting under the tower with the chariot. Shadow goes for Axiom and gets the kill. Let's steal some farm while we're in the neighborhood, but Banshee's gonna be on top of this Queen Naga. Nothing that EV can do. They're nowhere near except for Koja, who is lurking, does have a runic bomb and a spirit ball to throw as well. Is the steal possible? Circle of protections and the runic bomb thrown down, but a great pull from Banshees, pulls it out of range of the runic bomb. Who can take it? It's at 1,000. It's continuing to get burned, but no. Banshees drop it entirely and go for the kill instead. Koja Fox taken and the Queen Naga killed by the Banshees. A great objective pull for them.
Oh, wall connects there, and the wall will force the beats, and the dash. Shadow in trouble here to Dest.
Oh my God, Hyper Beam online, a beautiful play. Hydro sneaks one right before he dies. Axiom is killed, but Hydro falls nonetheless. Shadow killed in the mid lane. What an amazing rotation from both teams, really. Hydro looking to sneak one. He did exactly that, but the Queen Naga, nonetheless, and this mid lane pad all goes to the Wailing Banshees. They look so much better in the early game than they did last game.
It's crazy that once you draft a composition with pretty good ease of access CC, you can look so much better. Blink in from Aurora.
And no escape pulls two, make it three, and the boulder to follow through. Thorwall to lock them in place, and a knock up to lock back Lord Garfield. Nowhere they can go but to their grave. A great follow-up from Des secures 2 kills. Koja and Garfield gone. Wailing Banshees just snowballing one after the other.
Pyromancer available, and that's why Axiom's rotated on over to the mid lane. Apple committed here onto Aurora. Shadow trying to find a kill, but the Jingwei has a ride, and now Bacon's overstepped.
Teleporting back up in mid, but Hydro shows up with a big party bus rocket and does good damage onto Axiom, but still barely alive. Hydro might be in trouble. Nowhere for them to go. Big damage thrown from Axiom. Another kill for the Banshees. Bacon very low. Can't step up too far. No way they go for FG here, but now they're down Hydro. This is a 5v4. I think Banshees could take it. Driving strike off the mark. Koja is still around, but oh my God, the Thor wall's massive and lets the boulder bounce back and forth on top of Koja Fox and rolls his skull. Shadow dies as well, and into the air Snix J goes, looking to zone away Bacon. A Thor wall finds the stun, and Des gets another kill. Deceased body as of Eternal Vanguard scattered across the Fire Giant pit. And the only one left alive and around is the Lord Garfield, but he's getting tossed like a salad in the back line. Port Degree looking to zone, but Garfield's in the pit. 2k health on the FG. Des goes for the secure, but Hyper Beam a little early, but that's fine. We still killed Garfield. We still got FG. And Party Bus shows up late than never. And Obsidian Dagger in pocket. 4-1, but now there's only 2 members left with FG belts. It's just Snix and Aurora, so Hydro got something and ran, but Snix is hiding, looking for maybe we find Hydro, but look at Hydro snuck up and forced the dagger away from Snix J. What a great play from Hydro.
Snix does have wall, though. He's hunting here for Hydro, but doesn't guess the right leaf. Has to be careful. Doesn't realize Koja Fox is on the way, but Snix has ult. He's going to commit to this.
He's going into the air. We need Hydro's head, but Hydro putting on the juke shoes. Where is Hydrogen? Fool's Gold does good damage. Koja Fox takes the tower, and Hydro's there to slam some damage of their own. The wind gust, melting Snix, health bar like hot butter on a stovetop, and a Fool's Gold once more finds the shutdown, but Shackle's in place. We need revenge. Jukes the Spirit Ball, lands all 3 chains, and the searing flames will melt the flesh of Hydrogen. A dead raccoon lies in solo lane, but Aurora's not done there. Gets stunned by the Spirit Bomb, and wind gusting away. barely off the mark with Hyper Beam. It didn't land, but
Oh, he's
Koja
got
could still
him!
fall here. The shackles land, and a shell won't save you today. Des gets another kill. Nothing but blood being spilled across the battleground of the gods. This is a crazy game.
What in the heck just happened there? What? Okay, so much happened. Fire Giant goes the way of the Banshees. They get it, but they lose almost everyone. Only Aurora ends up with it, and Snick's dying on the right-hand side is huge. But we're not done. Port Degree forward. He's getting chippered down.
No, he's gonna go for one. Des secures the Pyromancer. Port Degree extremely low. Instead packing, looking to escape, but Bacon finds no escape, but Beats forced out from Bacon. And in mid lane, no, Des killed Bacon. Oh my God.
And how did Port Degree live? He's able to live and get top back up because of the raw sustain, I would imagine here. This sustain starting to come into play here for this Banshees comp between the Ares 2 for the HP 5 and Dest's healing on this raw. So much healing is able to keep these low health bars topped up and out of this kind of kill threshold for the Vanguards. And it is just a bloodbath across the map here. 28-16 are the kills, just 21 minutes in. And now Hydrogen has to be careful that he can get out in time.
Hydro is cornered by a couple members of Banshees, looking to juke his way out of this, but he tries to take one with him. A great outplay, but Axiom barely lives. The damage just a sliver off the mark. With 200 health to their name, Axiom lives through a full damage combo from Hydro. I love the attempt there, but it didn't work out for you.
Yeah, Hydro knows he's dead there, and so try and go for that play. And that is the power of this build, is you do so much damage in such quick succession. Yeah, I know. I said it, and I knew immediately afterwards.
Sorry, it's been intense. I need a comedic relief.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's been such chaos across the map. We finally get a quick moment to breathe more. I mean, both teams have to spread out, find some farm here. There's no objectives to take, so there's no real fighting that's going to happen. Though with Koja stepping up here kind of on his own, gotta be careful because Aurora consistently has been blinking in, looking for these ultimates. And Koja doesn't have a real way to immune it, if I'm not mistaken. That ult isn't CC immune.
I needed the moment to breathe. That was a lot. I was talking for like 2 minutes there. It has been a
Oh, you're gonna have to talk a lot more. They're looking for a play. Wall off the mark though from Snicks. And look, I like that play. Go for the wall. We don't get it. Now let's look for a play on the right hand side. Try and catch out Lord Garfield. Up goes Snicks.
Whoa. Snicks goes into the air and lands right on top of Garfield. Beats force away, and Garfield on the run, but nowhere for him to go. The wall blocks him off and then takes his head. Sticks J gets the kill. Dead is Lord Garfield, and going back to base is Koja. Hydro split pushing up the left side of the map, but I don't think he can get that much done. But a great driving strike takes Bacon over and couldn't teleport over the wall. In trouble yet again. The knockup off the mark. Excavate didn't land, but Port Degree so gets the kill. Bacon deceased, gone. Another kill for Port Degree.
At the very least, Vanguards are doing a really good job of splitting the map, stopping the Banshees from overcommitting too much in one place. They're consistently pushing left and mid, and a great job there, but Bacon just doesn't have the damage, doesn't have the survivability. Port Degree 7-2-11 on this Herc is just unkillable and can 100-0 a Discordia before he can die, and it's a 2v1. That's not okay, Mort. Tanks are busted.
Check Hydro. He's going to get the bird, but barely going back is Port Degree. I think he can defend this with a boulder, which
he can.
Oh, it is online. He can go for this. He can knock it up, but Hydro escapes. Meanwhile, the Banshee's burning the FG. It's down to 4K. They're going to take this, but Vanguard hovering. Can they seal this out? Des is able to secure it. FG for Wailing Banshees. And Six J goes into the air, going for the back line. Finds a stun. Koja's dead. Another great kill for Six J. Finds a stun again. Shadow might be in trouble, but over the wall. Golden Apple thrown. Big damage from Bacon. And able to find a bit of splash damage as well. But look up here on the left side. We might have caught Hydro. Shackled and killed. Oh my God. And Garfield doesn't have CC immunity, so he's pulled by the no escape. And Garfield will be put down just like his friend Hydrogen. Axiom gets another kill. Wailing Banshees are looking to take us to game 3.
Yeah, they're looking to try and end this, I imagine, off this push. 3 members dead. 30 seconds here on Hydrogen, and now you can see Shadow's caught as well. Wailing Banshees looking to take game 2.
I think they're going to do it. I think they can with 3 members dead for Eternal Vanguard. If they can end the game, they can at least grab a bird, and that's what they're going to do. Away goes a bird in 10 seconds or less. Des gets it, and away they go. No, Snicks is going into the air. They're going to try and end this. I love the aggression, but goes back to safety instead. Okay, momentum shift. We'll go back for Ranged Fury instead.
I mean, I like the call there. Just play safe. Don't throw the game. You go for that play under the Phoenix. You might end up losing there as Port Degree still forward, has to get away. And honestly, Vanguards are struggling in the same way that Banshees did in game 1. They don't have ease of access of CC. It's a Bacon's Madness. That's kind of it. You kind of have Koja's Spirit Ball, but that's a skill shot you got to land. Meanwhile, Snicks has a pretty consistent insta wall stun, right? But Koja's has travel time. Even Bacon's has a wind-up time versus the insta stun CC that Snicks wall has had this entire game. And you've seen the impact time and time and time again, not only for the stun, but the ability to lock down members, deny access of escape for the Vanguards. Snicks is running this game, and this is classic Snicks. It's either we're running it down from minute 1 and we're just struggling and we're throwing the game, or it's performances like this where he just runs and drives the pace of the game from minute 1 to the end where the Titan dies as Port Degree hunting for a potential pick here. But Banshees, they feel so comfortable, just play basically anywhere they want. They've got the weakened Phoenix on the right-hand side. If Vanguard continue to split push here, they might lose more than their bird. They might lose their Titan.
Right side bird getting looked at by Banshee. 4 members of Banshees are on top of the bird, and Vanguard don't have a lot of resource to take it. They're going to get the bird, but no. Look at Port Degree and go straight in. Forces beads out from Garfield so he doesn't get driving strike back into the team. Banshees approaching the Titan room. A great pull takes Garfield back, and 5 members of Banshees approaching the Titan room.
Ooh.
They might be looking to end this game, but getting poked down by Bacon in the process. Aurora looking for some setup. Des goes for a kill, and Des just killed Hydro. 2 members dead, make it 3. Shadow took out Port Degree. Axiom extremely low, but they're dedicating to the burn. Snakes off the mark with the knockup of the wall, locks 1 in place. Bacon hiding under the fountain as Banshee chip away at the Titan. Folks, it's official. We're going to game 3.
And it didn't take long to do it. Banshees just walk over the Vanguard team, and it's off the back of that Thor performance from Snicks J. Yeah, solid performances from Des. Yeah, solid performances from Port Degree. But that's Snicks, man. Just from minute 1, ran the pace of that game. And what I was worried about in the draft going into this game was, okay, if they don't play forward, if they're not diving, even with Dest, then they're going to struggle. This Raw is going to get gone on here by the Kabrakan. But that never really happened because they stepped on the gas and didn't let off of it from minute 1 to the end of that one. And that is where this comp really thrives. Love that they were able to execute it and just not allow Vanguard a moment to breathe. It felt like they were just suffocated out of that game.
And it feels like in picks and bans, we talked about it, like this looks like the comp they needed. If they would have had this kind of comp in game 1, then there wouldn't be a game 3. I think that maybe Banshees just win the whole set from there. Unfortunate mishaps in game 1, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this right here. I mean, a beautiful set of gameplay. Snicks J putting the team almost on his back entirely, but Axiom with a lot of DPS to follow through. Objectives melt down. Port Degree is the front line that you need with a lot of important knockups, like a lot. And Des made use of this raw pick before it became an issue with 5-on-5 team fights not really going their way. It's just skirmish after skirmish going down. But game 3 is on the horizon. Can Wailing Banshees reverse sweep the set, or will Eternal Vanguard have an answer? We'll find out after a few minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OSL Olympus Smite League. We're here to look over Game 3 of Eternal Vanguard up against the Wailing Banshees. The last week of regular season is upon us, and we're here to decide who's going to be the victor, or I guess they'll decide. If you don't already know me, my name's Morty. We've got Tesdai behind the scenes and Spirited Book with me here in the booth. Book, we just watched a very action-packed game. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, just so much action across the map for the Banshees and the Vanguards in general. I feel like it was just the Banshees that got away with it, man. They just the better end of it every single time. And so to me, it comes down to this next game. I would like to see the Banshees draft a similar style. You know, from minute one, we can make plays. We scale decently well with our carry picks, but also our jungler that can play carry style can also play setup style. And we saw Thor do exactly that. Would like to see Snicks go for something similar where they can be super comfortable, but also just make plays across the map.
As one thing we didn't really get to talk about too much yet, the vault ban system is in place, meaning the guys that are below me in Spirited Book right now, down there are, I guess I looked the other way, down there. Yep. Those 20 gods cannot be played because they've already been played in the set, along with the 6 that are banned in the bottom corners. So 26 gods knocked off the table. Both teams are going to have to be scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to picks.
Yeah, but already we've seen Vanguard shift things up a bit. They've taken first pick here in game 3 and have gone for the dodgy. Wailing Banshees, though, what a response from them. I feel like we haven't seen Mordred in a hot second here. And Artemis, this feels like the beginning of Smite 2, right? Where early days, Mordred just got released, Artemis just got released, and these were the top characters and they were being prioritized so much. But that hasn't been the case in a hot minute now. Artemis has really fallen off, and so has the Mordred. Interesting that this is the priority that Banshees are really going for here.
Yeah, this does have a lot of reminiscence of like the Founder series where these were the top gods. I mean, you could have Mordred take a few up for a ride with an ultimate, and then when they land back down, they land right into an Artemis trap, and they'll take a good amount of damage from basics and whatever abilities that Mordred has to follow through with right after. So this looks, it looks pretty solid for a team comp, right? You've got big knock up from there. Merlin's a pretty traditional pick, but Sir Nunos, right? I know Hydro kind of likes this pick, right?
Yeah, I like this idea that Hydra's kind of gone for here. My only concern is it's a non-CC immune ultimate into Artemis Mordred. Sure. Already, you're really going to struggle, I think, here with your safety. You're going to be really concerned about being safe in general. And Banshees, I feel like, just have the better edge here. In terms of raw damage, I think Vanguard's come out on top, but the tools that the Banshees have in their comp, I think, are just a little bit better. That is definitely a Scylla support here for Aurora, where he's going to be able to just dive the back line, play setup with that root, be effective here on the damage and the slows with the 2. The I'm a Monster, I've seen Aurora play this pick before, and I've been very critical of it, where Aurora uses that I'm a Monster just for damage. I would like to see Aurora maybe adjust things up here and just play a little safer on this character.
Yeah, I think that could... This is a wild picks and bans phase, keep in mind. Yeah, so the Aurora loves the Scylla, and it complements the fact that there's a lot of heavy physical damage on the side of Wailing Banshees, because that looks to me like a Chiron mid, and that's going to be hurting quite a bit. I'm imagining Death goes for the full strength build, so Marksman Shot, provides even more. But if you go all physical protections, then that lets Aurora do so much damage with her aspect, right? I mean, she's just going to be throwing damage out with I'm a Monster, assuming what the build is. I think it's going to be hard for Eternal Vanguard to beat this comp. You've got an incredible team fight with a lot of damage scattered across, different damage types, and then it executes a follow-up on the poke damage that can be thrown from Centaurus, from I'm a Monster, so much poke damage, and then Snicks J to follow up with this Thanatos pick. Here's the thing I'm looking at here. Snowball dependent pick for jungle. So Snicks J needs to get online early and fast as soon as possible to go for this snowball effect. But in turn, so does Shadow with the Daji.
Yeah, I think these are two really strong tempo characters where the Daji will scale a little bit better than the Thanatos, but the Thanatos can walk over the Daji in the early game, can walk over this entire team, honestly, in the early game. That is an Odin support. And now that we've seen that locked in, kind of surprised by that a little bit.
As we make our way into the game and decide who is going to be taking who on, who is going to be winning in game 3 of the set. It was a little bit slower in game 1 and an absolute slaughter in game 2. Let's see how game 3 goes. For those of you just now joining us, Morty on the mic, we've got Spirited Book with me here in the booth and Tesdai behind the scenes, and a lot less invasive this time around, Banshees.
Yeah, I think Banshees are just going to go standard here. They don't have the level 1, tempo plays that they can look for. Yeah, they have the Thanatos, but you really don't want to start your route if you're Scylla. You don't want to really look for plays if you're Artemis. You kind of want to play back. Des kind of wants to wait to hit level 2 before they be aggressive. Mordred is Mordred. Yeah, they have access to the dash early on between the 1 ability and the AA combos, but really, Port Degree just wants to spend a bit of time farming. So Banshees have no problem of playing back and playing under their towers, as we can see here. And Vanguard happy to do the same. The thing I'm going to be watching towards is both the duo lane and Snyx. Where does Snyx draw his attention? Where does he draw his eye to? What lane does he pay attention to? Is it this soul lane? In my opinion, it should be this duo lane, because look at this duo lane. Hydrogen on an incredibly unsafe character, but a high output of DPS character in the Cernunnos can just be so effective in this early game against the Artemis until she hits level 5. So look to Koja and Hydrogen to try and be really aggressive in this early game.
And I think it makes sense because you've got a lot of early damage with the Odin, even if he does go tank. I mean, the Warrior's Axe 2 will help with that. You've got a bit of true damage there and a heal for yourself, so sustain's not too bad. Once wave clear becomes less of an issue, Hydro can put some levels into Bramble Blast and let that melt the wave a little bit easier. Oh my god, blink in, but the sun's off the mark. That was very, very egregious, I guess.
Already we're seeing the power of that Bramble Blast, though. So much damage in this early game. And I love that little play from Aurora, the shell pickup here, just to avoid the Odin damage and the Odin cage in this early game. I really like this idea, because the job in the dual lane here is to just survive. Get the Artemis to a point where she can be effective in team fights. Get some of that, damage online. Would like to see Axiom maybe lean towards the Devos build. Try and match what I imagine Hydrogen is going to go towards, is in that basic attack kind of full damage build, as we see an aggressive play from Koja.
Okay, what can we do from here? Lurking around the side, but instead we'll have to settle on some neutral farm. Look at Snyx, though. Look at Snyx around the corner. Could be going for a gank. Does have the 1 online, going for some big damage. Throw, no, jumps over the wall. Koja's okay, but eats the scythe and a lot of damage dealt, but Koja might be fine. Eats the Soul Reap as well. But Koja's okay, at least alive, right? And hiding into the base, Hydro looking to get Snyx away from the farm. Snyx says, okay, you can have the farm. I can care less.
I mean, he should care. He's getting his own side invaded, and he's not taking anything back in return. So Shadow getting the better end of things in terms of invading. Now paying attention to this right-hand side. Good look for an early kill on a Port Degree, but I gotta imagine Shadow and Garfield together don't have enough damage to take down this Mordred, who's at full HP, and instead they'll just kind of go back to clearing their own farm back into base.
I think that Shadow could keep eyes on not just kills on Port Degree, but let's take his blue buff from him. I'm sure you've heard the stat changes have been rough for solo laners, meaning that blue buff is very important. You need that blue buff to stay alive in lane. Otherwise, without mana, how can you clear wave? How can you go for kills? How can you rotate to those very important firebrands? All questions that are answered by the blue buff, and whether or not you have it. Firebrand's coming up now, speaking of firebrands, and Snyx J going to be the first there. Shadow walking that way, but a little bit late to the party. Neither mid nor solo laner is showing up. It's just jungler, mano-y-mano.
Shadow hits Shadow was level 4 first. Snyx just hitting level 4 because of those firebrands. Shadow not aware of that, and so wasn't able to play aggressive. And look at this zonage here from Dest. Having the early pressure here on this Chiron, is able to walk over first, despite the Merlin having good clear. The pressure that the Chiron brings, not just in terms of play, but in terms of little attacks, as Hydro is able to secure his own farm there. But the Chiron just does more in this early game from just raw boxing matches. And so Des can just push out Bacon and then rotate over to the right-hand side. help his junglers secure that extra bit of farm in this early game. That's also important. We've seen how pivotal these firebrands have been for every team that honestly you and I cast, and Smite Prime and OSL, soon to be AGL. I mean, it's such a big priority for teams.
It really is. And oh my God, the root followed by I'm a Monster. Koja in trouble, but can't shoot the third hit. Did miss one, but you got the other two. A great play from Aurora to secure first blood for the Wailing Banshees.
I mean, we were talking, or at least I was talking about how Vanguard, they want to be aggressive, and Banshees, their job is to survive. But consistently now, we've seen Koja and Hydro getting pushed back as Hydro looking for that ultimate. Shadow's on the way.
Oh, no. Well, look around the corner. Here we go. In goes Shadow, going straight for Axiom, and not much can be dealt. Shadow gets the kill, and Aurora looking to escape, does a bit of damage with Crush, and then leaps over the wall. But look who's here for a stun, decides to maybe not go for it because Snakes just showed face. Let's walk away, secure neutral farm, and then see what we get after.
At the very least, you do get the Aegis off of Axiom, and you do get the beads off of Shadow from a great trap placement there from Axiom. Dropped it down in the jungle there, and Shadow walked right into it. So beads pulled off the Dodgy, Aegis pulled off the Artemis. It's just trades across the map in this early game in terms of relic usage. And still, same old solo lane, boxing matches. But Port Degree already getting the better end of things against the Chalk. And look, I love Lord Garfield. Good friend of mine outside of the game. Love that guy. But I feel like he's not playing the game a lot as of late compared to a lot of these solo laners, especially Port Degree. And so it kind of shows in these sort of comfort characters like the Chalk, who isn't in the best state right now.
I can agree. Maybe you can heal your way out of this, or at least teleport away so you can heal under tower. Rain Dance providing a bit of safety for Lord Garfield. And look at where Shadow is, locked in the cage. I know the cage works out their way. A great two-man knockup from Stormcall, and Palau up as well. Able to find a pull, but into the air. Stick Shade goes and dives straight onto Garfield. Able to find the kill is Poor Degree. Locked in place. Koja's dead as well. Death's able to get the kill, but Bacon able to find revenge. 2 down for Vanguard and 1 for the Banshees. Shadow able to escape, barely, less mana and health than everybody else, but Bacon zones to make sure that Shadow's A-okay.
You see Aurora hovering this left-hand side, is able to get an invade off on those back camps, so taking more farm away from Shadow in trade for that support rotation out of Koja. And so kind of an even trade at the end of the day. These firebrands probably going to go over to Snyx as Aurora is wrapping around the backhand side. Bacon has no Aegis, and not even Lord Garfield had spotted out Aurora yet. They have no idea that Scylla is here.
Pesky Aurora lurking in the side. Bacon might find them, or maybe Shadow will. Firebrands are getting taken. Bacon's gonna secure them. Aurora gets back to the team on their right side of the jungle. Des is around as well and putting out some damage. I really like this build from Des too. The early conduit for early aggression, and then Jotuns as well for early cooldown, early strength, and a bit of mana, so you're not running out too often. I love what we're seeing here.
Yeah, just more CDR to spam abilities, and that's kind of what Chiron wants to do in team fights. Have your ult up as much as possible, and it needs to hit as hard as possible as well. You got to get good burst damage on this Chiron pick, because as the game goes on, you kind of become this artillery style mage as a hunter who still has good basic attack damage. As Des has to be careful. He walks right up to Shadow. He's actually got a 2-level lead over Shadow. Both mids sitting in a very comfortable position here. You know, both having a kill, but one has a death. Des, though, has to be careful. Shadow going for it.
No, Des, you've got to be careful. Hop into Centaurus and try and get your way out. No, he's going to save the ult and just die instead. That's probably smart. Snyx Chain.
I don't know.
Moving around the map and looking for something. Goes for some neutral farm instead. And, you know, we talked about this Thanatos being reliant on a snowball. I don't think he's found it.
Not yet, no. I mean, 0-2 on the Thanatos so far. He's part of 2 kills, but just not having the same impact that we've seen Snyx have. But it's only going to take one play, right? Where Snyx just finds the right ultimate. And we saw it there on the right-hand side. So much burst damage in the early game and can be so effective. Snyx is doing a good job just kind of finding farm where he needs to, being relevant, being at the right place at the right time as well. But I feel like that was a missed opportunity from Des. Pop that ultimate, try and commit the damage there, because you have Athena on the way as Aurora has to play defensively here, but does get a decent bit of poke out.
Oh, the 2 hurts quite a bit. Des is starting to deal some damage. And we'll start seeing that get even worse as the time goes on, because it feels like Banshees have had control of these brands more or less. We've seen 1 or 2 from Vanguard, but yeah, look at Snicks going straight for Hydro, but Hydro seems to be okay for now. Walks back to tower. Gold Fury is visible. You know, we got some sight on it from Snicks, but Firebrand's getting picked up by Poor Degree, who rotates over.
Wow. And immediately, Banshee's on towards that Gold Fury. They have some good burn between this double Hunter comp, and Bacon isn't here in time to try and out-secure.
It's down to 1,000. Look at Aurora there to secure. I'm a monster available, but Aurora is able to take it. In goes Code to Fox, locks 3 in, but a Phantom Shell in response, and into the air goes Snakes. Can we land on 1? Shadows press up a tad bit too far and continuing to teleport in. Did you know that Snakes was in the air, or did you even care? Onto the Palau, able to find 3 pulls, but Centaurus in response lets Death get out scotch-free. A lot of ults invested, but no kills found, but Gold Fury goes to Wailing Banshees.
Oh, but you could see here, Snicks, no, he's not. I thought maybe he was going to wrap around and look for a play for the 2v2 there, but instead it's going to be a look here on the left-hand side for Hydro, but doesn't find the Barrel Blast. And now Aurora's here as well to defend this purple buff. A great play there from the Banshees. They get the gold and they don't lose any members in the process.
Okay, so that's a smart investment, right? No sacrifice needed. 10 minutes into the game, it's 3-3. But look at Aurora, they're gonna make it 3-4. I'm a monster utilized to take away purple buff over the wall, throws one out, but Poor Degree kills Garfield thanks to Snicks J's help over in solo lane. Hydro is waiting, trying to get away from Aurora. You pesky Aurora, get away from me, says Hydro. Does decent damage, but can you make this fight happen? You do have a 1-level lead, but Aurora's got damage to boot, and some tankiness from Contagion as well. Hits the root, throws Crush out. The damage is unreal from Aurora. Hydro just says, get away from me, please.
Hydro just needs help over here. Now here's Koja with the ultimate Shadow on the way as well.
Amazing. Odin Cage locks Aurora in place, and the flames will melt Aurora down. Axiom joining their friend at the gray screen. Gold Fury can't be taken, but Pyromancer being looked at by Banshees on the other side of the map. They might be down on kills, but their macro play looks really nice.
I was trying to figure out, where did Bacon come from? Use that teleporter just for the lane to get back to the left-hand side in time. And looks for that play. Great 2v2 there. And this Merlin's starting to hit here. Has 2 items. Des now dashes in. He's dead.
Oh no, Des, you gotta be careful there. Centaurus knives off the mark, but Bacon kills Des with the flames. The revive couldn't happen. The Snake says, nah, it's not worth it.
Can't. Port Degree was hunting though. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Port Degree is gonna look for Bacon though. Forces the Aegis.
And walking away from there, Palau pulls and says, you're not getting away from me. You want to go for my mid laner? You're going to pay with your life. Koja Fox gets the kill. Port Degree is dead, and Bacon extremely low and sent packing. Uses beads to get away. Snicks J is in trouble, but Aurora might have to say the same, but able to teleport back to the tier 1 tower. Yeah, great body blocks indeed, but it's not going to end with any kills aside from Port Degree. A little bit earlier, Hydro tried to rotate to make something happen, but couldn't quite do so, but that's a-okay. Let's try and collapse onto Axiom speed and maybe get some damage out.
Yeah, maybe look for a play over here. Axiom has no Aegis. Has ultimate though, and so Hydro, who does have beads, has to be a little bit careful. He doesn't really want those forced with Gold Fury spawning fairly soon unless he can guarantee that kill. Now Snicks has teleported to the left-hand side. This Ceranos has to be careful. I agree, this Thanatos just hasn't had the same impact. At the very least, he doesn't die there in the mid lane, is able to get away as Aurora gets gone on here by Shadow.
Ooh, but not too much to follow through. Axiom does a good bit of damage.
On him.
In trouble is Hydro, but look at Snakes diving straight on. Hydro dead. Didn't expect that one, did you? So great gank over there by Snicks J over in duo lane, but Shadow lurking in the shadows in the bush. Doesn't step into the trap. Instead goes straight to Axiom. Does some damage, but backs away because there is Snakes. Who lands the scythe and 500 damage straight to the dome. Shadow says, ow, I guess I better leave. Exit stage right. We're going to let Gold Fury go the way of Banshees should they decide to take, but instead they'll settle for their purple buff, and Firebrands yet again goes to Port Degree.
Koja is nearby and is able to contest if the side of the Banshees go to it. And that's the second time now, but Port Degree is able to just stack up more of these Firebrands on his own. He's getting solo golden XP for it. And he's double scaling here on the int and strength for Mordred. a lovely look here so far for the Soul Laner. It's netted him a two-level lead on this this character, despite him losing the tier 1 tower as well before Lord Garfield did.
Okay. So teleporting away, Aurora is fine. Bacon is able to get the kill. No, Bacon kills Aurora. Aurora is not fine. So great secure. That's going to let Eternal Vanguard walk towards this Gold Fury. Maybe they can get the second one of the game. It's going to be their first of the game. As 4 members, as Shadow's on the way to make it 5, but Snixjay uses Wind Sprite to teleport over. Axiom not around, but getting looked at by Snixjay and Port Degree. Bacon's able to secure the Gold Fury. The numbers game favors Vanguard as well. Banshees were a lot more spread out there, and Vanguard had their backs to each other saying, we can fight our way out of this, or maybe we can fight our way into this, because Axiom is very out of place.
Oh, Axiom has that ultimate, though. He's going to find the stun, then Snix is up first, but he's not going to be there in time. But Axiom has that damage in time.
Snixjay from the air kills Hydro, and the Odin Cage locked down as well. Nowhere for Snix to go, and then blink out. Shadow goes onto the totem pole and through the palo. Pulls to their certain death, but barely able to escape. Oh my, no. Koja went in and under the tower, but Aurora's there for revenge. A shield thrown out to maybe save their life. Can you get away? Can you put on the juke shoes? But you cannot dodge Aurora. Shutdown for Aurora. A lot of kills for Wailing Banshees. They might not have got the gold, but they sure as hell got it back in blood.
And the kill in the mid lane there. Dest and Port Degree worked together to take down Bacon there, who just wasn't at that fighting left. Instead, just got caught out in mid. Lord Garfield too late to the party. And Banshees, man, find the victory here out of what was a pretty crazy scrap. I feel like that's just Axiom starting to play. Hydro had beads available to him, decided not to use them in that play, and just gets the worst end of the trade. Maybe realized he was dead to the Thanatos nearby anyways and just said, all right, I'm going to go for it anyways. But I feel like that was an opportunity for Hydrogen to go for that solo kill, go for the play himself, not put himself in a position where Snix can impact that play.
Oh no, Koja Fox jumps over. Will they still get knocked up? Yes, they will. Queen Naga getting taken down by Wailing Banshees. EV's Lord Garfield a little late to the party. Didn't have the Storm Call ready to try and steal it. Used it a little bit too late, but Shadow's there to respond and able to get the kill on Snixjay. Aurora in the pit still. The fight scattered around, but not able to find anything. Shadow does find a pull on a Dest and locks down Dest, and death is their destiny. A great kill by Shadow. So 2 dead for Banshees. Gonna let Vanguard go for the Pyromancer as a constellation prize. And the mid lane beacon can be taken at any moment.
Hydro hovering this left-hand side. No one on Banshees can contest this Pyromancer, and likely this Moonlight Ritual in the mid lane. So all the farm and the neutral farm gonna go the way of the Vanguards. And so Banshees, they have to find an answer soon. They're really struggling in these fights. They're finding macro victories, but they're not finding the fight victories. And as the game goes later, they're really gonna struggle. As in mid, we do see a scrap here.
Shadow's in trouble. This got dove on, but teleports over the wall. A great escape from Shadow, but look at Snixjay. Lands the scythe. A great skill shot will grant the kill. But Koja's able to find one in revenge. Aurora is dead and going straight for Port Degree. Low on mana, but high on hopes. Take his force away. But Snixjay goes into the air. Says, did you say Aegis force away? Bop! Easy kill. Snixjay picks up another dead Lord Garfield, and 2 down for Vanguard, which means the beacon will all be for Banshees.
They didn't even get the Moonlight Ritual here, and now Axiom on the left-hand side is able to take away this this tower here. Ult committed, and that's the beats from Hydrogen. Axiom has to play defensive. Oh, great trap, and he's able to walk away.
Caledonian Boar used, but so was a Wild Hunt. Ult forced out from both dual laners. But look at the rotation. Port Degree. This is bad news for Hydro. Can he take one with him to the grave? No, he's going to get locked down. Axiom gets the kill. A great expose from Port Degree. He says, you weren't ready for that, were you? Come on, you've got awards. You're Hydrogen.
I mean, it looked like it was all going the way of the Vanguards, and then they just fall apart here in mid. The fight doesn't go their way. They lose the Ritual. They lose the tier 1 and left, and now they lose their ADC. They cage in Aurora, but I don't know if they're going to kill him until Bacon shows up. No, the dash a little bit better.
But Palau in response, you don't have a response
The
for
cleanse.
everything. No, you do. But look at Port Degree getting straight for the back line. Bacon's in trouble, and the ult's thrown out, but Port Degree will use it to escape. No, we'll use it to circle back. We're spinning the block in middle lane, but can we kind of kill Des with the Centaurus snipes and into the air? Snix J goes straight on a Bacon's head top and making his head roll. 2 kills found in the middle lane. Banshees on fire, which means, hell, if we're on fire, let's go straight for Fire Giant. That's where they're going. They're marching down through the jungle. 5 members in Lord Garfield hovering. Can we find a steal, or will we lose the objective? 7K, 8K, now 7. Garfield hovering and ready to go. Koja Fox as well. We can't give it up for free, but Garfield looking for something, goes into the pit, but Snix J secures it. 5 members of Banshees with FG belts around their waist. A storm called in response as Vanguard looking for an initiation, but it's only in vain. The Wild Hunt throw down, but Hydro can't find anything. And Koja extremely low. The Odin cage won't save your life today. Snix J makes it out of the cage. First day out, let's find a kill. Dead members of Vanguard scattered across the jungle. Banshees have done so much in a short amount of time, and look at where they've come.
Look at the gold lead. It's suddenly gotten completely out of control, favoring. Look at that massive dive. Gold Fury available as well for the Banshees, and maybe Shadow, who's getting caught in the jungle.
Shadow, you've got to get out of there. Hard Slash locks him down, and Centaurus snipes from downtown. We've got snipers on the rooftops. There's no escape from Destiny. Des gets another beautiful kill. Banshees are moving across the map, moving and grooving, and nothing can stop them. They got the tier 2. They're going for the bird, and Vanguard defending with all they've got. But do they have the tools to defend the Titan room? They've scared Banshees off for now.
They've got a lot of standing gold in their pockets that they haven't spent yet. That's why they can't commit to that objective there, the bird. But they got to be careful now around this Gold Fury. You can see the Eternal Vanguards realize that gold that they just got for themselves, they haven't spent it yet. This could be our chance, but they're really struggling to just walk past Aurora and Port Degree, who are in their face, and gold gonna go the way of the Banshees. Only Hydrogen up there on his own.
Wow, this... Let's recap before this game gets out of control. Oh my God, Hydrogen, please give me just one moment. It is 22 minutes into this game, and Eternal Vanguard are down 5 kills. Snix J wants to make it 6, but can't find their way to Hydro. But look at Aurora. Where's Aurora position? Dashing straight forward. Can we find the route? The Crush finds the slow, and a route to follow through. I'm a monster and a scythe utilized to take Hydro's head top. Down 1 member, our Vanguard yet again. Aurora going straight for Shadow. We need to capitalize on the momentum. Garfield throws an axe over the wall. Won't save your friend. Snix J goes for another. Let's make it a third. Teleports over the wall. A great bit of patience from Snix J will let them find yet another kill. Garfield put down by 4 members of Eternal Vanguard. We don't do one-on-ones, we dogpile them.
They're gonna go for the mid bird and the left bird as well here. Wailing Banshees look so comfortable here on some of their best picks. It's just Aurora, man, walking members down, zoning out effectively on the Scylla. We haven't seen it a whole lot as of late, but this is the power of Scylla support. She just kind of doesn't die. She's incredibly safe. Oh yeah, and she has a slow field and a root that denies you space, and this is what Banshees have been using. They've been using that space to just walk forward as Hydro trying to defend this bird, but it's going down quick.
Eternal Vanguard looking to defend their Titan room. Banshees looking to approach it one way or another. The Caledonian Boar thrown down, and it does good damage. But the Wild Hunt in response to put a bit of damage onto Axiom. But look at Snix J. Snix J has just made it in to the Titan room. Oh my God, the damage is unreal. Koja Fox is in trouble. Koja Fox is dead. Hydro and Garfield all deceased, and Bacon's the only one left alive. But a great response. Flickers forward and flames to follow. Down goes Snix J, but the rest of Banshees chipping away at the Titan. This could be game over, but they're all low health. You're exactly right. Shadow's there to pick apart the scraps. 2K health on the Titan, but shut down right after. Banshees have just come out on top.
It wasn't clean, but the Banshees come back in this series and win game number 3 in another action-packed game. I mean, feel like you better not have to use your voice on Monday, Mort, because it's just been non-stop 2 games in a row between these two teams. Wow. And Banshees just don't let off the gas at all. They're just running the game from minute 1 again.
Goodness. Oh my God. Like, just one thing after another went the way of the Banshees, right? I mean, they found one good thing, they found another. The snowball took effect. It took a little bit of time for Snakes to get online, but once they were around, they were unstoppable. Great setup from Aurora on the Scylla, and the player damage was, I mean, surprisingly not the lowest. And I thought it was going to be one of the highest in the lobby. I mean, Snakes was the only one that was lower, I guess, but just crazy damage from Aurora. But then Port Degree with the front line, Axiom with DPS, and Des with the snipes. Goodness, just crazy gameplay from Banshees.
Yeah, I've been so impressed by Aurora and Port Degree in particular. I feel like that game, just the front line was unstoppable, in your face the entire game, but also incredibly safe, incredibly aware of their health bars and how much damage they could, take before they have to play safe. And that kind of in and out play style between the two of them. Aurora steps up, takes a bit of damage, throws out some CC and damage themselves, then takes a step back. And in that moment, Port Degree steps forward, buys some space in that moment with the damage, with the CC and their health bar. I mean, just a wonderful performance between those two players. I feel like that game was created a lot of space for their carries to operate efficiently.
Well, unfortunately, Smite fans, that's all we've got for today. Thank you to everybody up at OSL, Godsend, Big Snooze, and everybody else for making this happen. Thank you to Tesdai and Spirited Book for joining me on the cast today. But most importantly, thank you to every single viewer at home for tuning in what was probably one of my favorite competitive sets in a long time. It was a crazy thing to be a part of, and I'm glad that I was able to be here. But this was our last week of regular season play. Next week starts the playoffs, and the preliminary round is going to be next Sunday, the same exact time, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Smite Games. So if you liked what you saw, you better be here for more. Take it easy, gamers. Thanks, y'all. Ready to go!
No shortcuts, no safety net. Every step earned in sweat. Long nights, same climb. Pressure builds, still I grind. Still here, still through the trial, through the pain, Titans fall when I step in. I was Titans fall when I step in.